Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics, a podcast about comic books, video games, movies, television, and everything nerd, with your hosts, Nate Phillips and Brandon Stone.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
Hey everybody, Nate here with Journey into Comics. Today is pretty fucking historical. If I do say so myself. You're already laughing. This is fucking awesome. So, good friend of mine, longtime listener of Journey into Comics, Anthony. We've mentioned him on like 75% of our shows. He's the man who has extraordinary toy knowledge and just he's a super funny guy. We finally got him on the show. He kind of is evasive about this a little bit, but
we're going to make it work.
It's going to be good, man. So, first of all, how the fuck is it going?
It's going great. You know, just chilling.
We had hot dogs today.
They were delicious.
They were fucking...
Just the right amount of char.
Yeah, I almost blew myself up with you included.
That was like fail army shit right there.
Yeah, it was pretty epic. Had we had the GoPro running like from the garage, that would have been the greatest fucking action shot.
You would need the drone. You'd have to get the thing, the drone. I think it's a Lily drone.
You said that. We didn't even watch that.
It's amazing.
We'll fucking check it out. But apparently I left the fucking propane just cracked slightly. So there was a big buildup in the lines of propane, and we turned the fucking burners on high, and Anthony no more than moved the grate, and I just stuck my hand in and lit the fucking...
I just heard a click, and then I was like, my eyebrows are singed off.
And all I heard was... and I was just like, oh shit, my arm, which actually surprisingly took no damage, like singed hairs, but... I mean, no burns, so it's a win.
Considering the size of the flame,
yeah,
it wasn't so bad.
And then what did we watch today?
We watched Super.
Oh, yeah, Super.
James Gunn.
First time seeing that movie. It is, not to overutilize the title, it's super dark.
It was very super dark.
But it's very much what being a superhero in the real world would probably be.
It's the adult version of Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I mean, and Kick-Ass is pretty
kinda,
adult.
you know what I mean?
So yeah, but it's a James Gunn flick.
The middle-aged midlife crisis Kick-Ass.
Rainn Wilson, the king of the middle-aged midlife crisis guy, you know, like he's done it in every fucking movie almost.
He looks like what Sloth would be if Sloth wasn't all mutated. Then that would be Rainn Wilson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, imagine if you just took Rainn Wilson and you heated something hot enough to melt his face, and then you were just like, "This is you now."
Like when you accidentally burn some plastic on the stove and it bubbles up, and that's Sloth's head.
When you would like mutate army men as a kid.
Hey, you guys, you know.
I was always more interested in the Baby Ruth.
So, go ahead and just summarize you. To people.
Me?
Yeah, because people want to know. I mean, they don't give a fuck about just some random voice if you don't give them some substance. What is it about you?
Was that like coaching for the podcast? You're like, look, man, you got to fucking have substance.
No,
we need substance.
We do need substance, though. You know, like you think I'm
it's
kidding.
Better to have no substance, I think.
So people just need to just not know a fucking thing about you.
I'm like a hot dog, all filler. No, I don't know. I love. Being a nerd, I guess. I don't know. I don't nerd out as much. I couldn't cosplay for anything unless it was like the Michelin Man or maybe I could do Stay Puft. But I would probably look more like Baby Huey if I wore like the Stay Puft outfit.
You could totally pull off Juggernaut.
Maybe.
Dude, I mean, easy peasy.
I'd be the fat kid from Stand By Me.
Oh, awesome. So Anthony and I met 2013, 2012. It was 2012.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
At Horseshoe when we both worked there. We've attended some pretty badass concerts together.
Yeah, Sabbath.
Motley Crue.
Motley Crue was good too.
Same place.
Yeah.
It was fun both times.
Drunken debauchery.
Lots of debauchery. A lot of strange, weird...
When the guy tried to kick our ass saying that we stole his camera.
Or when we found Fargo in a dumpster.
We waited on the lawn. I knew it was going to be one of those nights when he's standing there and he leaves and he comes back with like multiple limeritas. And then I see him for a little while, then I don't see him again. And then the next time I see him, he had 2 different drinks. And great guy. Then he just gets so bombed. I say a lot.
He disappeared. I used to say a lot, and I've learned to cut that out.
Yeah,
you just have to kind of notice that you do it and try to be mindful.
Shave it down.
Like, man, if I say I'm gonna punch myself in the fucking dick, you know. And then you're just like, I'm fucking ready. I'm gonna oh, there it is, bam, oh shit, you know. But
yeah, we lost him, and I remember
he just took off.
We decide that we should wait until everything clears out. I believe we said, hey, you're a grown-ass man. You know, he can find his way home. And I remember seeing all the way off in the distance some legs sticking out of a garbage can. And I was like, yep, found him. That's him.
And we find him, and we had to, like, almost like WWE when they sell an injury, you know, how the guy stumbles around like he's hurt, like his leg's broken or some shit, but you know it's not broken.
Yeah.
But Fargo was just fucked up enough that it was kind of like that, and we were just kind of carrying him. We carry him out to the
parking lot,
and he's like, I gotta piss.
I remember him saying, his exact words are, where are we going? And I said, we're going to the car. And then he said, I'm going to pee in the car. And I was like, you know what, man? Maybe we're going to go over here by these weeds and you could pee over here.
So there's a white car. It was like a fucking, I don't know, an old Chevy something. I don't know.
I remember him just trying to stand there and piss and then falling down and seeing his cock and balls flail and just piss everywhere.
He pissed on himself, obviously.
And not being able to stand up. And Jeff was like, hey, man, I can help you up, but you're going to have to put your dick away first.
Can you say that one more time?
What?
Can you say that one more time? Just there's a reason. Just do it.
Okay.
Just what
hey, man,
Jeff said.
I'll help you up, but you got to put your dick away first.
Okay. Brandon, you need to, when you listen to this episode, I'm going to tell you about this time, and you're going to chop that so that you say that, and that's a button. Hey, man, I'm going to help you up, but you're going to have to put your dick away
first.
Oh, that's fun. So the reason why we're doing this podcast, let's kind of get into the fat a little bit of this. So you come over, we haven't seen each other in a few months.
I like that you looked at me and you said fat. That's
no,
funny.
Hey, no.
He's giving you substance, guys. This is that substance we talked about.
Oh, shit. So you came over, we haven't seen each other for a while.
It's been a little while. Yeah.
We grilled out, we hung out, we watched Super, played some Batman. Which
pretty cool.
I don't know when this episode necessarily will drop, but
yeah, it might be old news a little bit by the time.
Batman's going to be covered a few times across the next couple episodes. I'm not sure at this point. This episode is out. You can go back and listen to the Journey into Comics Comic Club.
iTunes, Podbean,
iTunes.
However you choose to.
Check us out on Instagram. We post some cool shit on Instagram. I posted the limited edition Dark Knight Collector's Edition that I got. It's pretty badass. Sweet. I mean, I showed you. So, but the reason we're here today doing this show, we're not just going to sit here and ramble and do all filler. Anthony goes, we totally could just sit here and fucking
mindless boggling.
Whatever, we don't care. People fucking
Words.
Tune in. So you were like, dude, oh my god, have you checked out The Walking Dead 142 and 143?
Yes.
And I was like, no, man, because I've been so stupid fucking far behind on
the
comics.
50th, you know, you had all
had
the
50th. I've kind of been hyper-focusing on the pops as of late, getting back into the pop game, which is kind of overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? But
I do.
Totally. So we're discussing, you know, everything that's going on. I've missed comics. Here we are, and you're like, dude, you should just leave the room and go read those right now. And I said, fine, I'll fucking do it. So then I got back in the back and I'm looking and I'm like, I haven't read 140,
141, yeah.
142, or 143. So
spoiler alert, they're all awesome.
They are really fucking awesome.
It's like they're finally getting back. Like, you know, we've had the time jump. They did the... They're getting ready to do the fair and shit like that.
We finally know where Michonne has been for the past 37 goddamn issues. She's always gone.
You get Ezekiel. You get a little touch on, like, he still loves Michonne.
Now, there's big rumblings in the hilltop. Some shit has went down.
Shit has fucking went down.
Gregory tried to poison and kill Maggie.
He's an idiot.
he fucked it up, and I loved her reaction when she just looks at him and she's like, "You're fucking worthless, and you can't even fucking poison a person, right? You stupid fuck."
And then in doing all that, that's when Carl decides to chase after
Lydia. Yeah. He jumps ship. He goes after the Whisperers.
Who are awesome villains, by the way. You're wearing a skin suit. I mean,
can I ask?
How much
do you
more
think
badass do you get?
Do you think that if the Walking Dead show stretches far enough, we'll see those in the TV show?
I
Because,
don't-
dude, can you imagine that?
It would just be mind-boggling if they had like, they do that. They're doing the spin-off show or whatever. And I don't particularly watch the show because it frustrates me. I know that's like I can't say that because I watched up to like season 4.
You need to get back into it because, dude, it got like fucking.
Yeah. But
they got on their fucking knees for the fans. And
dude,
they were just
the
like,
spin-off
oh.
show. If they take this, if they take the spin-off show, the funnier part was my dick was actually in your mouth.
It wasn't.
If they take the spin-off show, and I mean, I don't want to. Should we talk about the ending of 143? I mean.
Well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna
but
talk
I
about
wanted
everything.
to bring that part up, essentially into. We can't do that though, because it's like we're skipping around.
We're jumping. We'll get back to what you're gonna say.
Yes,
it's gonna be an amazing scene if they ever
we just
get there.
wasted 45 seconds of your life.
It's okay. There's one thing that you haven't quite experienced yet.
What?
And we've been doing this for now 11 minutes. So let me introduce you to.
This is great. I can't believe you queued that up.
It's the soundbar. Look, check it out.
Does this have... Oh, I thought you were going to play the... Wah, 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 wah. That would have been funny.
That was actually played back on the Baller Minutia I Am Taco episode with Wes, where you you won
yes
signed Westicles I Am Taco picture. We're gonna make that happen as soon as Wes gets his ass back up here, which we don't know when that is. But anyways, I've got the sound bar, board button thing, fucking button machine. That too. I could do that right now if you want.
Dude, that's hilarious.
So let's kind of go down. Do you want to start at 141? Do we want to kind of touch on?
It works better, I think, because you've done this before, and I guess I haven't. That if you lead in, it's so much easier for me to pick up on the subject matter and go with it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say a call response kind of thing, but you get the idea.
I do get the idea. So I sit down to read 141, and it's been a while. And it kind of starts off with Rick. He's making his way back. And obviously we know on the last panel of 140, Negan is free.
Oh, man.
And, it's funny because Kirkman has successfully thrown these fucking humongous curveballs. You
instantly think, what, Negan's going to be on a rampage. This is going to be great. And then you don't get that at all.
But even to call back to other things that Kirkman has done in his writing, think about when Rick slit Negan's throat, and you were like, Negan's fucking dead for sure.
Yeah,
and it's just it's a flesh wound. It's really
prison and cut to imprison Negan way down the line,
and he's out. And so, what are we gonna get when Negan comes out? It could be, like you said, a rampage.
I was hoping for a bunch of death and great one-liners because that's what he's good for.
He really is. He's that one about his normal-sized wiener.
Just pull out.
We'll get to that, but So, flash forward, Rick is getting back into the town. He's kind of having these normal conversations with people. Oh, I'm back, blah, 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 whatever. I missed you, Andrea, la, 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 la. And he goes to check on Negan, and the cell door is open. But Negan is still inside.
Still there.
And this was a very interesting set of panels because you have Kirkman essentially making you question whether or not you should trust Negan by his own actions.
Yeah, I mean, he could have ran out. And he's so maniacal, but he just decides to stay, and then he talks all that shit to Rick Grimes.
He says, I could have tore a hole in a wall somewhere that you don't know about yet. I could have fucking wired your house to explode when you go home. I could have pulled out my normal size wiener and fucked orgasms into your girl Andrea, I think was the exact line. But he didn't do any of that. He literally just sat in the cell. Whatever. He wants Rick to trust him. And If you're Rick Grimes, do you trust Negan?
Absolutely not. He's the kind of guy that thinks something this deep and then lures you close. Like Rick's smart enough to never trust anyone but himself. In my opinion. I mean, maybe Andrea, because he has that, hey, we're fucking bond,
And ultimately Carl.
But I mean,
because it's his
think
son.
and think about too how much the overall cast has changed over so long. I mean, you got Maggie leading her own little group, Yeah. Essentially, all these people are from his main party of when he grew into being Rick Grimes are all spread out kind of. You don't have that tight knit group, and now he's just got Andrea and Carl.
Michonne's on a boat.
Motherfucker.
With her flippy floppies.
This is where you need the auto tune
Oh, on the voices,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we can
I'm
talk.
on a boat.
That'd be great. So let's see what else is going on in this world. So Rick gets this huge shock that Negan could have been out, and he just goes, "Fuck no, I'm not going to trust you," and locks him back up. And kind of what happens next in that issue, I'm not sure where the narrative goes.
Doesn't Rick come to learn he leaves, and then essentially the next few things that happen is he learns that Carl's gone, right?
Correct.
Am I wrong there?
Well, no, you're not wrong, but that happens at the end of the issue, because remember, Maggie still is at the hilltop at this point, because ultimately there's something
they're dealing with the drama
that Gregory has caused.
The Gregory drama.
So
yes, absolutely.
I can't remember. I feel like there was something that happened in between all this stuff. I do know what it is. It's Carl. So
Carl with Lydia.
Carl is with Lydia and Alpha, and Lydia's trying to explain to Carl, look, we're animalistic.
Was it at the end of 140 where you're like, oh my God, Carl banged Lydia?
No, that was 139, I think.
139.
Because 140 was the end where Negan is out.
Just standing there. Yeah. The key broke.
So what happens with Carl and Lydia is that Lydia's going,
Maggie says, hey, we're getting rid of her. She's leaving with her. That's it.
And Carl says, no, we have to save her. He's hell-bent on saving this girl.
Yeah,
okay?
They don't have any qualities.
And, we fast forward to where we are in 141, and Lydia is telling Carl, we're animalistic. We don't need names. Just call my mom,
Alpha,
by her leaderly name. I found it interesting. A guy was like, does this look good for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
It seems to be your size.
If you like this, you can wear this one.
Yeah, and how gross, right?
And Carl was like, you know what? I want more of an 04.
Picking his zombie model.
Yeah, this guy's a little scabbed. I like that.
I want him a little more clean when I get him. So he is kind of adamant of I'm saving this girl, and didn't you forget, do you not know who the fuck I am? Do you not know about my dad? He treats people like humans. He's not disrespectful. We aren't animalistic. We don't kill, and he says all these nice things, and, Alpha's like, I need to learn more about your people, which was interesting, and we'll get back to that soon enough. So then, kind of to flash forward, Carl is just still adamantly trying to tell Lydia, leave this group, come back with me and my people. And she's like, dude, this is...
I think deep down she wants to go, but
do you think
those are her people.
Do you think ultimately she's afraid of her mom to a crazy extent?
I definitely think she's messed up in the head, especially because even when she was imprisoned by them and kidnapped earlier, they even say, as they're looking in from the outside, oh, she'll be fine,
Yeah, she can handle this.
Yeah, they know.
So we get to the end of 141, and we see a very hung and dead Gregory.
Absolutely.
And
I keep saying that too, and I'm okay with it because it's such a good word.
It is a good word, absolutely.
Absolutely.
On episode 50, check back and listen to that, folks. I'm pretty sure I said fair 89 goddamn times. People would say shit that not necessarily have a good response.
That's fair. That's fair.
They would say this color is brown. And I'd be like, fair. Yeah, fair. It is fair that it is brown. That is fair. For some reason, that word was stuck on me that day. That was a fucking stressful day. Maybe we'll talk about that a little behind the scenes. So we see Gregory hung. We see that Maggie made this decision, and
he's hanging from a tree. He's not like his pants aren't down. Like, look at how hung Gregory is. We see Gregory hung.
Floppy dick flopping everywhere.
Like, you want some drama, Maggie?
How about this dick? So the book ends with that. That was talent adjusting a little bit here so I can kind of move over. So
I feel like I'm yelling.
No, you're fine. You sound great. So we get to the end of 141. Gregory's hanging. We start 142. Maggie is talking to the hilltop, and she's saying,
"This is a one-time shot. We're not doing this again.
This is setting an example. This is not something I want to be fond of, but don't fuck with me. Because if you do something stupid, I have to. I literally have no other option other than to do that." Now, what I found interesting, and I want to get your take on this, is that while she's saying this whole, like, it was a one-time thing, Rick is talking to Andrea. This is also back in 141, so we're kind of mixing and matching, but I read them all together. They kind of blend together. So I think it's interesting that in 141, Rick is talking about how he can't kill Negan because he's setting the example that is something he doesn't have to do.
Yeah.
At the same time, Maggie has just took it upon herself to kill somebody.
And Rick has no idea.
And has no clue. And that's a moment that at some point, I'm guessing,
it's going to come to a head.
144, well, we're going to have to see where Rick ends up after what we're going to talk about here shortly. But in 142, again, Andrea is setting up for market, getting the fair ready.
She's running the fair.
People are setting up booths. She's so excited. We didn't mention Dwight, by the way, saying he didn't want to lead the Saviors anymore. And Rick saying, you didn't have a fucking choice. They turned to you as their leader. And if you don't want to be leader, do the smart thing and have them vote for who they want as their leader, because any other way, me telling them who their leader is,
them to just come or him to free Negan would be amazing, and just be like, take your people back, under a different. You decide what you want to do. If you want to try to bring wrath to Rick Grimes, or if that's behind you now,
that would be crazy.
It would be pretty cool.
Because that would leave for the people to say.
Ultimately, I think that there's going to be a serious drama, and that Negan is going to be the only one who can go get Rick Grimes. And I think he's going to be this great anti-hero. It's going to be awesome.
What if they start... well, we'll talk about...
I mean, we can what if all day. I love doing spin-off conspiracy theories on
like hypothetically,
what character is going to do what.
Hypothetically, with how 143 ended, what if all the people that are gone at that moment that we're going to be talking about... and we're trying to build it up, I know, but it's really a poignant moment.
Oh, man.
I mean,
the last panel on 143, you're just like...
142
wow.
Also.
Yeah.
Which...
I like the last few issues. It seems like the story was just kind of like they're kind of touching on just the other characters a little bit, kind of filling you in, and now it's like getting into the meat of like we're back into heavy grind mode with some serious. Every place in the comic is having a serious event.
You know what's awesome too about this section of the book is that right now there's a kind of a lull in the violence. And they're more telling the exactly what you said.
It's like suspense. I mean, they're really good at building into the cliffhanger ending. Those few issues, you just are like, man, I want to read the next one. Is it 2 weeks? Is it 4 weeks?
Is it?
I better check right now.
Oh.
I hope I don't see the cover.
The cover game is always so hardcore because when you see it, sometimes you're like, oh, that spoiled it for me.
Oh,
I know what's happening. But the covers that were for these last couple issues haven't been really spoilerific. I mean, Negan on the one cover, Lydia and Carl on the one cover, and I don't remember what 142's cover was.
Yeah, I mean, even if you saw the Negan thing and you didn't know he was like he had,
it could mean anything. You could just
be gasping like, "Oh my God, is he escaping? I better read this."
Yeah, exactly. So, in 142, again, they're working the market. Maggie comes and she finally gets,
I'm gonna check out the fair. I need to talk to Rick Grimes about Carl.
She gets to Alexandria.
And Gregory.
And she is obviously first and foremost Carl.
Carl,
It's the most important
one.
thing.
Absolutely.
What's that guy's name? Sickwood? The black guy with the dreads that puts them in that place. It's Siqqid.
I'm not sure.
Sickwood?
Sure.
Sickid? I don't know how to say. If anybody has any news on how the fuck to say that name, hit me up somewhere.
Is there a schwa in there?
Yeah, schwa.
I don't know.
But so she said, priority number 1, Carl. I have to fucking say to Rick what happened. So she goes and she's like, "Hey, we went and Carl took off with this girl. He explains.
He's gone. We searched for him
for 2 days.
We sent our guy out. He was gone. I can't think of that guy's name that has a crush on Maggie. He's pretty cool.
It's a D name, right?
It's not Dan, is it?
No.
It's
my brain fails me.
Yeah, right when you need to know, you won't know.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, he has this crush, but Rick's like, well, I have to go fucking.
What the fuck do you mean? I'll do this shit myself.
I have to go look for Carl, and obviously Andrea's like, well, I'm not leaving my son, which I love that dynamic that Andrea has kind of taken Carl under her wing and said, "You're my son."
Yeah,
like we've been through so much fucking insane shit that you are my blood, even though we're not.
They even show. What's her name all grown up? I can't think of her name. It's
Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia.
Yeah, Maggie's daughter. So Rick's like, we're going. So it's Rick, it's Andrea, and then the guide guy whose fucking name escapes us. Douglas, maybe?
No, that was the bald dude that was in the...
Okay, yeah. So anyways, and then who did I say? So it's Andrea, Rick, Michonne.
Is Jesus with them? No, it's the guy. That's the guide that we're thinking of that I just want to replace with Jesus, but it's not.
It's not Dwight. He's the Savior's guy.
Yeah, no.
Fuck, I can't.
He's
think
got
of
like
his
a
name.
samurai haircut too. Like I can't think of it. You know how they are.
Anyways,
I don't have my phone around.
So they take the fuck off to find Carl.
We need a producer to go check that. Somebody send a producer to check that.
Let me Google this shit.
You gotta Google it. And if you queue up the Jeff Goldblum remix laugh, I will lose it. I'm just telling you.
Okay, so to me, it's just
this is so good.
You two,
dinosaurs, huh?
dig up dinosaurs?
I didn't make this, by the way. I have no rights to this. This is just.
I'm only laughing because it the video that goes with it is priceless.
This is the Jeff Goldblum remix.
It's so good. It's so funny. Ow, ow. I gave it a virus. A computer virus.
We could actually talk about that too after we
So
talk Walking
funny.
Dead, because they just announced ID
Too, yeah.
Resurrection.
No Will Smith.
Yeah, let's fast forward.
Ow, 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 ow. Jeff Goldblum dubstep.
Okay, so anyways, let's get real. I'm looking up. Let's see. Looking.
You could probably just pull up the issue, ain't it?
Dead 142. Oh, blah.
This will all be edited out for time purposes.
No, actually, I probably won't edit this because fuck it, man. Just whatever.
Yeah.
People don't care. So I'm trying to figure out who the fuck this guy is.
They're probably going back already and just re-listening to ow.
That's the fucking guy. Why you won't view the image? Come on. Dante. I knew it was a fucking D.
I said Dan. I had 3 letters.
Dante.
Shit.
So anyways, Dante.
Dante. You're going to call him Dan.
Michonne, Rick, and Andrea are going to find Carl. They're going after the Whisperers.
Rick says, hey, Michonne, you don't have to come.
And she goes,
she's just like,
"You're kidding me, old man.
You're not gonna fucking stop me. Yeah, I'm gonna come."
So they trek. Now, while that's taking place, they are leaving Alexandria to go find Carl. A few days trek, probably. We get a beautiful final panel, or a final series of panels, where Alpha is...
the leader of the Whisperers is at the fair. She is in Alexandria. No fucking joke. And no one has a clue.
They are...
And you're just immediately like, this bitch just infiltrated their camp.
And didn't even try.
And they're and it's funny because they're leaving to go see her, and she's already there at their place, scoping out everything from the inside.
It's a huge game of chess, you know. So, on the other side of that, we move on to issue 143, where she's just talking, and she's just like, "Oh, I'm new here."
She feels the vibe of like how
she's
they are.
playing every motherfucker at the fair, and she's just like, "Oh, I'm new here, and I've only been here a couple days, and blah blah blah." And definitely keeps it kind of on the DL. She doesn't mention a name or anything like that. She says very very little about herself. And is it Ezekiel that's like, there's something weird about that chick? Like, I don't know what the fuck's up with her. Somebody in the group, maybe Jesus, I'm not sure, is like, we don't trust that bitch. What's up with her?
I remember, is it somebody that they talked to the blacksmith or whatever, and he was just like, she's new, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. Who's the Hilltops blacksmith? I can't think of that guy's name.
I can't either. It's definitely not Dante.
Or Dan.
Or Dan. Wait, let me pick a... It's Joe. Joe the blacksmith, but it'll probably be Josephine.
That's so fucking weird. I knew you were going to say Josephine. So she, she has this interaction, and then we flash forward to Rick, and Rick is finding...
They're coming up to, essentially, Dante's leading them, and he tells them he's terrified of these people. You don't understand.
He's given the rundown.
They know how to blend with the dead.
And all of a sudden, you think you're fighting a walker, and the next thing you know, they're trying to stab you.
Absolutely. Boom. Said it again. And I've got balls of steel.
You know what? Actually, let's see.
I've got balls of steel.
Yes.
I've
That's
got
pretty
balls
much.
of steel.
That's pretty much what Alpha's saying. You know.
She does. She's got.
She
fucking...
flexes. That's 143. She's flexing.
Yeah, she definitely flexes and puts.
But yeah, we're coming up to that. Essentially, they end up running into a scout of the Whisperers.
Who
says he will take Rick Grimes, only Rick Grimes,
and that's
the rest of the way.
Everybody else has to stay here. They'll be guarded by Whisperers. Okay,
Yeah,
so that means
we got you. We're here. You're not escaping us.
Dante, Michonne, and Andrea. Now here's the thing: in prediction land, Dante won't make it out.
No,
Andrea
he's
and
a
Michonne will fuck everybody else up. I think that's my guess. Is that's how they get out of it? Is that Andrea and Michonne just fucking go Super Saiyan and just beat ass, to no end. Because they're pros, man. She's the fucking best sharpshooter that's been in this book. She had practice.
Love to see Michonne pick up some kind of debris like a sword and just fucking cut somebody in half.
Not even her katana.
And maybe Andrea picks up their weapon and is able to secure some safety. But yeah, Dante maybe jumps in front of Andrea or something
to save her.
But see, I think that he's more destined to go with Maggie. At some point, something's going to happen involving Maggie, because they really, the issues leading up, they're not just like, this is some throwaway guy. Like, he has that like little like flirtatious period with her.
Yeah.
And he's like, she likes it, And you could tell she does.
Yeah, of course. She hasn't had any interaction for, what are we at, 43 issues now?
Yeah.
Really 44.
The memory of Glenn's Wang.
I mean, it's starting to demise. I mean,
yeah,
has a very small penis.
A very small, as compared to regular-sized Rick and Hung Gregory.
No, it's regular-sized Negan. His normal-sized wiener.
That will fuck orgasms into Andrea. Perfect.
So, Rick is getting taken to the camp of the Whisperers, essentially. And we flash over to Carl on the other side, again, still pleading with Lydia. Let's fucking go. Let's make a break for it. Let's get out of here. What the fuck? And the guy's like...
And here comes stumbles right into Rick Grimes.
But before that, though, more importantly, one thing I noticed was one of the whisperers telling Carl to keep your voice down.
Yeah, we're not supposed to yell.
Don't yell. And he's like, I don't fucking care what you say. I'm yelling. And then, boom, Rick is there on the scene. And it's Rick and Carl. They've finally seen each other.
I love that Carl doesn't even make a big deal about seeing Rick.
No.
Rick's just like, hey, Carl.
and Carl's just like, oh, God, fucking just whatever, Dad. But this is where the book really took a turn because Carl lets down this fucking humongous
developmental thing of Carl.
He goes from just this kid to just like, you realize that...
He's grown up. Like, that instant, you're like, this dude is... way more mature than where he is, like, age-wise. The world has shaped him.
The world has shaped him.
Physically.
And this is how it is. And he feels like he just looks like a monster.
That he looks the part, yeah. Like, and, you know, since he's been with them, when was the last time you even saw him cover his eye up? He doesn't anymore.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have the hat.
He doesn't
wear
wear glasses.
He got rid of everything that shielded
He's even
the
moved,
hole in his head.
He's even moved
his
hair
hair
back.
even is slicked back.
Yeah.
Showing the eye, you know. I mean, maybe it's because Lydia likes to lick it. That was creepy. But sorry.
It's okay. You were getting
pissed. Now you can actually hear me. I'm just gonna be like this the whole time.
I totally unplugged my mic and no one even noticed. That was fucking awesome. I was gonna be like, "Hey, what's up over there?" And I'm going just far away, and now I can't fucking hear anything. You know. Carl breaks down, man, and he gives it to Rick. He says, essentially, fuck you. You don't love me. Mom didn't love me. You don't look at me with love. You look at me with disgust and hatred.
You're saying that with such aggression, and I'm picturing the mic stand looking like Steven Tyler, like a bunch of like shit wrapped around it. It's hilarious. F-I-N-E friend.
We were discussing that earlier, too, with Super. We watched Super, Tangent City.
Yeah. Break from Walking Dead. You're eventually going to find out what the last panel 143 is 1 hour and 42 minutes into this podcast.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. So, real quick,
it's filler. We got to have more filler.
Well, we'll talk about whatever. I don't get the whole episode doesn't have to be Walking Dead. That's just the primary fat. Wherever we go from here,
again,
is just a whatever. So, we're watching Super, and there's a point where Liv Tyler's character is in AA.
You really did go tangent mode.
Okay, so Liv Tyler, her character is in AA, and she says, fucked, insecure, neurotic, and... Emotional. F-I-N-E, fine. And I'm like, pause, everybody. This is the first time I've seen this movie. I'm like, pause, stop right there. Everyone's just kind of looking at me, and I'm like...
Easter egg.
That's an Easter egg. And they're like, what? Fucking what Easter egg? F-I-N-E, fine. Fucked, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. What the fuck? And I'm like, just pause it. And I'm like, okay. So in What It Takes, which is on Pump...
was that like 1991?
Maybe.
That's the one with the truck on the front. Right?
Yeah, they're humping.
Yeah,
the trucks
absolutely.
are humping. And it's actually the case opens the wrong way.
Janie's got a gun.
Oh, fucking classic. So anyways, in that song, Steven Tyler says he's F-I-N-E fine, which goes back to another Aerosmith album. I want to say Night in the Ruts, which on that album, on the backside, in the rocks, it was right in the nuts. Because it's spoonerism, Night in the Ruts, right in the nuts, right? So in one of the older Aerosmith albums, there is a song called F-I-N-E, which is fucked, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. And that is a small James Gunn tip of the hat Easter egg to Steven Tyler and Aerosmith that I found first time watching a movie.
It was pretty impressive. And then I looked it up on IMDb.
Second fact.
And you were like, it's going to be there. And it was the second fact.
Yeah, so... anyways, back to Walking Dead after I tangent.
And you didn't even tangent into cool parts of Super. You were like, Liv Tyler.
I don't want to...
Don't spoil that the Crimson Bolt is just...
And
his
bolty.
weapon literally
is a
wrench.
And he cracks fucking skulls open.
In a sense, he's more brutal than the things these people are doing.
Yeah. Don't cut in line.
No buts. There's no buts.
There's no butting. No buts.
Absolutely amazing scene.
It's a great film. Michael Rooker's in it.
Tyler Bates does the music. Fantastic soundtrack.
Kevin Bacon's in it.
Yeah, it's just home run material.
Yeah, fucking super dope. So, back to the fat of The Walking Dead. We are nearing the end here, and Rick and Carl are having this moment of angst where Carl is essentially saying the only person that's ever loved me is Lydia, and I'm not leaving her behind. And Rick just goes,
she's the only one who can look at me the way it is, and without any hesitation, everyone else judges me, and I see the way that they view me.
So they're having this thing, and Rick goes, okay, fine, just whatever, it's cool, and he just kind of backs off Carl. I think he's a little bit stunned in that moment, and then boom, here comes Alpha,
Strolls right on up,
machete bloodied.
Yes.
And we
ran into some trouble on the road, she says.
She does say that they ran into some trouble on the road.
Clean this for me.
And of course, Rick's like, what did you do to Andrea and Michonne? Because Rick always overreacts to everything because
he's Rick Grimes.
And it's the zombie apocalypse. I mean, wouldn't you? So it's not, oh, well, it looks like Andrea's dead. She's not, as far as we know. So she says, I need to talk to you alone. Rick's like, what the fuck? Are you going to kill me? Just fucking do it. Quit wasting time. Like, he's kind of taunting her at this point. And she's like, just a little bit further. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Basically explaining, like, she doesn't want to kill him. She is only going to do what she has to do.
And she's only going to
not fucking tempt her because she will destroy everything you love and everything you care about and everyone. It doesn't matter who they are.
And I love how she says that she wants him to see that she's not kidding around.
Yeah, that she's serious.
When she says this,
she's fully capable of destroying everything that he has and he's built
and everything he's worked towards, the society he has. And she takes him onto the top of this like building's roof.
Cut to the second to last panel, Rick Grimes' face. Dun, dun, dun. Last panel of 143.
We're finally here.
We're there.
We can talk about it. We're 41 minutes into the episode.
I've got balls of steel. I don't care if it's overused and old.
What about...
Ventrilo Duke Nukem is hilarious.
Actually, what about this?
Tastes just like raisins.
Okay, so we're finally here, folks. We're at the final panel of 143, and you see an over-the-shoulder shot of Alpha
and her weapon of mass destruction,
and Rick, and her fucking tens of thousands of whispers. I mean, she's got the biggest...
I think they're just walkers that they've corralled. Like, they've herded the walkers together and built, like, this huge wall.
So it's like a super horde.
Yeah, it's a horde. It's not a herd. It's a horde. And that she will release that down the way, and it will destroy everything because there's no way they can physically take them.
Yeah, there's just too much buildup.
And to me, it seems like they have to be walkers. I don't see it being... all these people who survive that are dressed like whisperers.
I guess that's true.
That's too... I mean, there is literally that many to where it's just... It's mind-boggling.
It's overwhelming.
And the other thing is, like, if you think about it, there hasn't been many walkers. Whenever they're out traveling and stuff, they never... Like, the book has gotten away from that. There's not, like, just attacks where they're like, oh, we got to kill these zombies while we're walking from here to here. You don't have that anymore. And maybe that's because they're all fucking corralled into her, like, little... well, I guess it's not little, but... her area that she's able to keep the walkers, like it's just crazy.
So
was that like Desolate City that they, that because she's like, hey, we're up on this building. I remember, she's telling Rick Grimes like, don't fucking be yelling,
Yeah, that's
like how are they physically going to keep all those without having a huge fence or something? I mean, I'm not saying they built like. The Great Wall of China or something like that, but it looks almost like they're looking out over a castle wall.
It really does.
And essentially, there's just an entire. It's more than like a prison yard's worth of just packed walkers.
What do you think 144 has in store for us after we are?
It's going to cut away completely of what you want to know about.
You think they're going to skip a whole issue and avoid this and maybe go back to...
I would love them to go back, revisit some kind of Negan thing.
See, they're going to have to discuss what's going on in Alexandria because she was there.
What would be cool is if Rick Grimes realizes how serious Alpha is, and then maybe they go back and they're discussing, and then they talk a little bit about what happened, and then maybe they cut to that. You know what I mean? Like, I need to know about these people that are with you, what happened with Andrea. Who's this Michonne chick? Where has she been? You know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So do you think that means that maybe we get filled in with some of what the Michonne situation that is talked about now in the book?
Like I was like curious as to like where are they sailing?
She's
They
a
have
fucking
these like supply routes and these trade routes with these boats. Does that mean like, you know, Dwight and them are on like across the way? Is this a lake? Where are they at? They're traveling. They're not traveling the fucking high seas. You know what I mean?
they're not going to England.
Yeah. They're not like, oh, get some tea.
Cheerio, The Walking Dead. We're The Walking Dead. Or Walkers.
I'm terrible at British.
I don't do bad British. I mean, it's all right, I guess.
So all right, crikey, that's a knife. Some
It's a little
Australian.
more Australian, but it's just
That's a stingray. Oops.
too soon.
No, absolutely not.
That just makes
I
me
read
think.
that his daughter is like following in his footsteps, not getting killed by a stingray, but venturing into wild animalville.
Oh, badass. Well, not
Interesting.
badass. Interesting. So, yeah, man, my predictions for The Walking Dead just moving forward. I agree with you. Something has to happen to make Negan come into play and be a major player.
You have this most incredible,
What if he became a good guy?
charismatic villain. That's what I'm saying. He could be like such like the anti-hero, you know? I'm not saying he's like Punisher, you know? But in a way, like the dude's ruthless and has no filter, you know? Nothing's going to phase him or stop him.
What if, I mean, this is not most likely going to happen, but what if Rick just straight up murders the fuck out of Alpha? Just on that top, he's just like, I see what the fuck is going on here. Boom, takes her out as quickly and effectively as possible, and then says, your leader's fucking dead. And
What if the only way to kill her is to send Negan out? Like a mercenary.
Oh, God.
Like Rick Grimes is like, look, man, you want to make shit right?
you wanna have
do this
trust?
for me, and I'll know that you're serious. You go fucking kill her, and then, it's on.
Dude,
That would be amazing.
this comic series has went from, I mean, it's really interesting that you're on for us talking about these issues because, as I've said in the past, if it wasn't for you, I actually probably wouldn't even check out The Walking Dead. Like,
Oh, I
honestly,
love Image. Image is so dark and
you just handed me a flash drive one day when we were working at Horseshoe, and you said you need to go home and there's a comic book reader
Power
on
read
this.
'em, man.
Download
Power
it.
read 'em.
I read them in a few days, and then I was like obsessed, and then it was
What
like
issue did it stop at? Like,
106 because that was the first issue I bought.
wow.
So I read 106 issues in like 2.5 days, and I just fucking
And we're at
and we're at 143.
I mean, think how many months have passed since.
Oh yeah,
a long time.
and they doubled through during All Out War, and we're doing like bi-weekly for a while there.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah, they'll probably get back to that sometime. Who knows? But
Really, it just boils down to Adler and how much he can do.
if you were to, right now, it seems like we've had 3 big bads in the Walking Dead universe. You've got the Governor, you've got Negan, and now you've got Alpha. And Alpha is
Yes.
someone not to fuck with. We haven't even seen what she's fully capable of yet.
Technically, we had 4 bads if you count the walkers.
Well,
The
they're
overall
they are a victim of
the
circumstance.
environment, maybe.
Okay.
The world around is an enemy in itself.
Very, very well said.
I mean, think of all the people you've lost. Your Dales.
But I guess, and then you say your Dales. That makes me think. Okay, we did have smaller
They
scale
had,
baddies.
Yeah, I mean, like the people that they dealt with that kind of helped shape them and make them like, okay, well, we might have to fucking fuck some people up to have shit right.
Shane was
Your
a mini
boy,
bad.
your boy Douglas that you brought up earlier.
Yeah,
He was like a mini bad, like a little sub boss.
yeah. But if you were to take the 3 major players, so like I said, Governor, Negan, and now Alpha, and rank them in veracity or
Very
just,
tough to do.
It would be very tough to do. I feel like by default Negan has to stay at the top of the list.
I think Negan, automatically you think that because he's so charismatic, whereas the Governor, I mean, if you really look at the Governor's shoes, and I don't know if you read the Rise of the Governor or those books by
Road to Woodbury.
Bazinga or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. But those are great, and they give you like a huge insight into that. If we had one for Negan like that, it would be unbelievable. But they won't touch it. But like I would say that you go based on the trouble they've given Rick Grimes. Like if you try to say Negan, the Governor basically killed Lori.
Long story short, yeah.
You know, I mean, in a sense, those events, you know, the prison, whatever.
I mean, he also killed Tyrese.
Yeah, huge characters. Just getting wiped out.
But then you look at Negan. Negan took out Glenn in a most...
Oh, Lucille. The debut of Lucille.
Oh, just
My
a
vampire bat.
fucking...
What a fucking great... I remember reading that and I was just like, did they just seriously do that? Like, how do you do that?
And it's funny that you say that because that's the issue when I was reading. Okay, so you've given me this hard drive or this flash drive, and I'm reading through these comics, and I get to 100. Okay, and I've finally invested in these characters, and I like Glenn, and I like Rick, and I like Michonne, and so on and so forth. And that moment, I'm not even kidding you. At issue 100, I was like, I've got to buy all of these comics. I have to own really the run. And so now, you know, aside from the ones I'm behind on that are more current, I mean, a run that's 2 through nearly current, or 3 through nearly current, that's pretty ridiculous. And you were joking earlier saying that I'll, you know, get some sort of fucking lucky life moment and run into one.
It will happen. Eventually, one day, you will get a number one.
Look, the only way that's happening is if I fucking win the lottery or get some super swank $40 an hour gig, man.
You never know, man. You never know.
Well, fucking sometimes you need a leg up in the world. You were saying this earlier.
Fundraiser mode. Everyone, we're going to have a Kickstarter for Nate to get Walking Dead number 1.
Let's go. And if we do, we'll do a fucking live journey into comics.
We should just take your picture and put it on little coffee cans and try to see if Speedway will be like, look, this kid's had a tough go. Is that sadistic? I think so.
Yeah, whatever. Cancer, Walking Dead number 1. It's the
terrible.
Same thing.
Yeah, like look, this guy is...
Cancer's no joke, people. I've had family members that have cancer. It's not a fucking joke, but make light of life because you've only got one. Why be fucking depressed all the time, you know? Walking Dead, man, is just an ever-evolving thing, you know? And I think Image is starting to kind of take over and knowing what more adult readers want. You've got books like Chew. You've got books like Sons of the Devil. You've got books like, East of West.
They got all kinds, Image's lineup's pretty good. Thief of Thieves. If you're thinking of Kirkman or Manifest Destiny, they got
Outcast.
There's so many.
Outcast.
Saga, great.
Oh, Saga.
Great. That's kind of bizarre, but in a cool way.
I'm afraid to read any of those fucking books because then I'm going to have to go after those series too.
Well, the other thing about Image is they constantly put out new material all the time. You'll get to where it's oh, this is issue 1 of this, you know? And, only a few books really start to take off. And I feel once they reach, 30 or 40, it's they got enough staying power now, you know? But very rare, usually books of that nature, Chew, great book. Fantastic. That's not Image, is it?
Yeah,
it is Image.
It's only going 60 issues too.
You know, and they're being smart about it because they're
telling a concise story and ending it. They're not going to fucking
right.
bullshit. And the nice thing with The Walking Dead, man, Kirkman said he's got up to 250 in his head. You got to
imagine, if you think about where they're at in the seasons compared to where you would be in the books, because, they kind of follow the storyline.
The comics are going to go forever. I don't think The Walking Dead will ever end.
Well, I think, to me, what personally I believe is that Kirkman, when he started it, had basically written a novel of The Walking Dead. And then was you know what? I just need to know how to break this down into comics. Got with his artists, you know? And then was hey, fuck you, Tony Moore.
Tony Moore Tony there. Moore.
Great. Fantastic artist.
Number 9.
Hey, do the first 7 covers, something like that.
No, he did the first 7 issues with the whole art,
doing it all.
Then Adler took over for the inside art, and Tony continued to do up to issue, I want to say 15 or 16 on just the covers. And then once he left the covers, he was gone for good. But now, whenever you read about The Walking Dead, Tony Moore is one of the names that is always brought up because he was the guy that started it. If it wasn't for him and Kirkman, we wouldn't have The Walking Dead.
Kirkman negates it.
Yeah, he does.
In a way, it's almost it was a sellout move against him. But that's business. That's how it goes.
Of course.
I thank him for it because I enjoy the book. But yeah, so I think he has enough material. You can do so many things, and I think he's just having fun with the characters now. You know, obviously there's an overlying main storyline, but I feel sometimes you need the side quests. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's interesting, too, because with this comic, it seems like in superhero comic books, you don't have a grasp on time that has passed. Okay? So you have millions of these
because
Spider-Mans.
it's just constant. Okay, this new villain, or I defeated Joker, but now Joker's back with it's a different style, or you know what I mean. It's the same kind of thing.
But kind of what I'm getting at is that it's like, okay,
It's more of a concrete universe. Is that what you're trying to say?
the universe is this open slate, and then it's just like you could essentially say that Amazing Spider-Man, for all 700 and so on issues, took place in the course of 7 months. Really,
Yes.
because it was one day at a time, and that's, blah, blah, blah. Or you could say 2 years is the only amount of time Parker's been doing this is 2 years. But it seems like forever because it's, 40 or 50 or 60 years, however many years of
I
comics.
remember when, not to cut you off, but I remember when Walking Dead did the time jump. And I literally was like, what am I reading? This is fucked up. I'm pissed. And I was like frustrated with it. And then now I'm like so thankful for the time jump because it puts mystery suddenly. You know what's going on. And then all of a sudden now you're like, how did we get to this point? And it's such a great way to do storytelling.
It's a plot device,
Structuring.
man.
Yeah, the structuring's fantastic. And then it allows you to develop all these characters, and you could kind of see what people dig on. I mean, you read the letter hack section, and some people get so shitty about stuff. It's great.
I want to bring up something, and we may pause and adjust to make this happen. So,
The fact that I need a wild cherry Pepsi right now.
well, that's fine. I could use a beverage as well. We could always pause for station identification and come back into this, which would give me a few minutes here. We're almost at the 1 hour mark, so maybe we'll go to an hour and a half and then call this. But
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm surprised that I'm digging it as much now that I'm much more comfortable.
it's easy. You're just doing what we do anyways. We fucking talk and shoot the shit. So
It's
let's just
great.
continue to talk and shoot the shit. Plus, look at all the shit that's around you. I mean, maybe sometime soon I'll put out another picture. I don't want to over picturate everybody with what's going on in the pop room because it is ever evolving. But when you have a mixture of great friends and good deals, and it's like, it's crazy to me to think that there's only like 2 or 3 pops that I've actually spent my money on in recent months, and other people have been like, hey, let me help you out or hook you up or this or that or the other, or pay me back in favors or pay me back later or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So this collection that I was like, fuck, I can't collect these. I'm so fucking broke and I can't find a
kinda
better.
within your reach,
I can't
too.
find it. Is $10 for a pop is not. I can spend $10 once a paycheck to, that's not going to
I
murder
spend that
me.
at Burger King.
Exactly.
Let me get a number 7.
Eh,
I don't even know what that is.
I feel like that's a grilled tender crisp.
I'm pretty sure that I'm like dollar menu millionaire. Let me get
I need 6 junior bacon cheeseburgers.
I want the rodeo cheeseburger.
Oh god, a rodeo burger is so fucking
A
good.
lot of people hate it.
Onion ring, barbecue
Barbecue sauce?
sauce.
I'll tell you what I'm not a fan of. This pulled pork business. No, Burger King.
We
Just don't do it.
We could also talk food for days. But
Don't
what I was
do
going to
it.
say before we take our little break here is that when we did the 50th, I made a very, and you haven't heard the 50th
I have
yet.
not listened to it. I've been like off the grid.
Just don't worry about that. But this is being sprung on you as something that we'll attempt in the last half hour. Everybody now who has been on the show, everyone who's been on the show now has a random origin. And maybe for a little bit of inspiration, I'll read some of them while we're on break, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing.
Your bio, your backstory.
Kind of. But what I do is I take a comic book character, which I've already got one picked out for you, and I'm going to take all their important stuff of their backstory, and I'm going to erase all the important stuff. And then I'm going to ask you to give me
Like a fill in the
verbs and
blank, like a
nouns.
Mad Lib?
It's a Mad Libs, exactly. It's a random origin. And then you're going to give me these words, and we're going to fill in the blanks, and then you're going to read your random origin, and it's read in third person. So we'll set that up. I'll write it down or whatever the fuck I've got to do, and then I'll give it to you. You'll read it, and most likely it'll be really fucking funny. So
I
far,
hope
we've
so.
we've not really had any duds. I feel kind of bad. In writing them, some of them, the backstories of characters, I wasn't as polished on, and instead of like diving in and doing super research, I was like, fuck, I'm on a time crunch. I've got to get like 8 of these done in a couple days, So I was just like busting ass. So a couple of them kind of seemed shorter, and other than that, though, I thought they were all pretty fucking funny. So, like I said, we'll try to read those. But right now, folks, what we're going to do is Anthony and I are going to go take a little short break.
It'll seem like nothing to you because you'll just go right into the next
Exactly.
portion.
It's the best fucking thing in the whole wide world. But to close on The Walking Dead before we move out of here, I'm excited for the future, and we're almost to 150 already. And then in a couple years, we'll be at 200, and it's crazy that's that fast.
I mean, 150 already. Is 150 like that's got to be like a milestone event, right? I mean, at the same time,
well,
usually you know how they save important things for big round numbers.
Yeah,
like a 100 Death of Glenn, serious.
Super serious.
How many covers did they do? I mean, it was crazy.
I have most of them.
What, like 8 variants? I mean,
I think it was 14 actually.
Really, like that?
Really,
many?
really.
See, that's more than I even.
Because there are
imagine.
there are some that you can't even get. Like there was the Escape the Walking Dead, so you had to be at San Diego Comic-Con and do the Escape the Walking Dead tour. And once you completed it, you got given this comic for 100 that was Rick trying to escape the prison. So it was pretty cool.
Sick.
And then they had like the Ryan Otley.
By the way, I'm a huge Walking Dead toy collector and comic series of toys. I have tons of shit.
Can you want to talk a little bit about toys in the second half?
Absolutely.
So we'll take a break now, folks. But like Anthony said, it will seem like mere seconds to you. So we'll be right back. Whoa, that was crazy. That was a time jump. We just time jumped, Walking Dead style. To the listener, it has been mere seconds. Mere literal seconds. But to us, it's been a good half hour, I'd say.
A really long piss. It felt great.
It was nice. I had some delicious wild cherry Pepsi. We read some random origins. You are going to have a random origin.
Apparently.
Because I said we were going to do this for every guest that came on. You're now a guest of the show. Briefly, what's up with this? You like this now. You like podcasting.
It's cool. It was fun. I was like, hey,
You have dodged this for a while, and it just kind of was right time, right place, and you're digging it.
It's cool.
Fuck yeah, that's super awesome. So we may hear more from Anthony throughout the future episodes. Don't be shocked to hear him. Or
I apologize in advance. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to belch, man, and that was just one of those times. Spicy.
Yeah, and then I throw up all over the fucking mixer. I was like, oh shit, sorry.
So, you are a fucking gigantic... Maybe I'm jerking you off too much here. You're a gigantic toy collector.
I love toy nerds, toy stuff.
You have a...
I want more than I have.
That's with anything, though. I mean, I would love to have all the comics in the world, but...
I mean, it's natural.
Comics are so much easier to maintain than if all I did was have comics, there would be more space in this room.
Oh yeah, super simple. I mean, you're just putting it in, you read your one issue or whatever, and maybe you don't even open it, and you just put them in the box, keep them nice,
show them off,
keep the weight off. Yeah. All of a sudden you're like, first appearance Punisher, something like that.
Yeah. So
super cool.
You were telling me that I know you're a huge toy collector, but like we were talking about before we took our break.
We were talking about Walking Dead, obviously,
and
I have tons of like Walking Dead toys. That's crazy.
You have, correct me if I'm wrong here, you have all of the comic series,
every comic series figures,
including the exclusive SDCC,
which really isn't like super like hey. It's not like I have series 1 of the TV, which at the time I had ordered. And I canceled.
Oh,
I was
fuck.
Broke. And now I'm like, fuck. Daryl alone, it's like you can get $300 for that easy.
Ugh. Crazy. So, what got you into collecting toys?
I just love the nostalgia of it all. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the creepy guy that goes into Toys R Us at like 11:30 a.m. And they're like, what are you doing here? You shopping for like your nephew or something? And you're like, no. But I'm not that guy that goes and buys fucking 10 of the same G.I. Joe. Like
you're not a fucking flipper.
Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck, buddy?
Let's talk about fucking flippers.
I fucking hate flippers, dude.
People suck. So if you don't know what a flipper is, let me give you a little short example.
A dolphin?
So, yes. So, let's say there's a pop vinyl that comes out of Joe Schmo, and Joe Schmo is a limited run of 320, okay? So there's a limited Joe Schmo pop vinyl of 320, and somebody happens to find a way to buy 10 of them. So then now that guy owns, of 320, he owns 10 of them. That's a huge percentage when you're talking about, I mean, how many collectors there are, right? So now this guy can essentially control the market, release them one at a time, sell them here or there. Most people are fucking stupid and they post pictures of all 25 of
Hey,
them.
look, does anyone need a fading vision? I have 50 of them, and you're like, my fucking Target doesn't even stock those things.
Correct. And then you're just like, man, fuck you guys. Like, here's my thing. If all the fucking toy collectors were just literal toy collectors and there weren't flippers,
I have no problem with somebody buying two. Maybe you have one you open and you display, and the other one you put away.
Exactly.
That's fine.
But these guys that have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
It's
8, 9,
overkill. You
just
don't need it.
Fuck off already.
You don't fucking need it.
No, not at all. So I think you're kind of like me because you said you love the nostalgia of collecting toys. So for me, when I think of toys and collecting them, it's kind of like this thing that takes me back to my childhood where I was a stupid kid. I opened all of my Ninja Turtles figures that would be worth thousands of dollars if I would have just kept them all packaged and never fucked with them. That didn't happen. And I can't go back and right those wrongs. I can't go back and spend $80 to $90 per singular figure and get all the ones I had because, Jesus, my Ninja Turtle toy collection was out of this fucking world. If it was a villain or a different variation of the Ninja Turtles, like I had the Samurai Raphael and the fucking cool dude Mikey and, whatever. Mondo Gecko, Dirtbag, Bebop, Rocksteady, Shredder, Technodrome,
I just think about, like, I had so many, like, cool He-Man toys and
Oh,
stuff.
God. Yeah.
I mean, I had, like, Castle Grayskull, like, pristine shape. And I don't have those anymore. And I'm like, man.
And you can't go back and necessarily get those and find them.
Fuck. You want to pay for some shit? Just go on. Do yourself a favor. Go on eBay. Look up original He-Man, and you'll see them in like fucking protector cases, and you're like, hey, get ready to drop a whole shit ton of money for one figure.
Yeah. So, getting back to that, to me, it's like now I'm an adult, and now I can choose to invest, I think that's a smart word, in something that I enjoy to look at, something that I can submerge myself in.
I love the conversation aspect of it all. Like if you have your pop wall, we're sitting right in front of it, it's pretty cool. But like you could just look at it and it just suddenly sparks conversation. And then you start thinking about things like, man, like I remember when I got this specific piece. Each thing has a story and it's just like a lot of shit.
I mean, this will be on, spoiler alert to you, I don't know if you even know this, but I'm starting a series on YouTube on the Journey into Comics channel called Pop Talk, and I'm going to just literally walk through and discuss different rare pops, different harder to find pops that are uncommon, people don't typically see, stuff that, and I'm going to kind of focus on, what is cool about it, maybe tell the story of how I got it, because some of these, man, have really neat, unique stories.
Yeah, like this fell into my lap, randomly.
Starting with the first series that I'm talking about is the first Thor and the first Loki in the Pop Vinyl collection, which were the first two Marvel pops. They were the first two movie licensed lines. They were the first two pops to actually be in that style of box. The original 4 pops that came out, which was the glow-in-the-dark Green Lantern, Batman, Freddy Funko, and Batgirl, were in clamshells, and they were just like hangers. You could dangle them, hang them. So this was the different one, and actually, I have 2 of those Lokis. They're valued at $170, and one of them was free.
Awesome.
And the other one was $10.
Can't beat it.
So crazy. So that story's going to be told on Pop Talk. So you're right, man. All these things have.
But the thing that you gotta mention too, the thing you weren't buying them at the time, going, these are going to be worth tons of money. You were doing it because you thought it was cool.
I think they look fucking
and
neat.
They're cool. Yeah, it's just fucking cool to have.
They look fucking neat. They're a style I enjoy. They're not too bulky. They're not too wonky. Speaking of which, I know we've had drama with this, but that Ant-Man collector core
pretty
with
cool.
I've said this for months.
You said, hey, what would be cool is if they did a pop vinyl, and they made it the smallest pop vinyl that they've ever made.
And they did, and they actually are calling it the smallest bobblehead that Funko has
It's
ever made.
pretty
And it's
fucking
fucking
cool.
tiny. It's like a half inch. That's fucking little
You're
for
like, I just want to take it out and go, dum, and just flick his head.
and it'll
make
just
it
barely move.
Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, toys, like you said, it's a conversation starter. And it's weird because we haven't really dove heavily into talking about toys on this podcast, and this is something that way back when the show was in its early phases, I kept telling you, like, dude, we got to talk about toys on the show. You can be our toy expert. We can go to you. You have great knowledge. You know what's cool. You're into some. You do collect pop vinyl, but you collect something that I don't, and I love it because I get to just. It's how you are with my pop wall.
Yeah, you just
I
get
to be
eviscerated with it. You're like, this is so cool. I don't even know if that's the right word, but
your reaction wall.
I do have a lot of reactions.
Which Funko also makes these reaction
And
figures.
they're not worth fucking dick, but I love them because they're just an old style, like that old Kenner vibe, like the small little figures, and they're shitty. That makes it cool to me in a way, like because I think to me it's cool to have the card, like this little figure on the card, and then you can go through and they're different.
And it's super awesome because with in modern era things become more and more articulated, right? And these reactions take you, like you said, back to Kenner, back to unarticulated, where the arms barely move up and down, the legs can barely kick, like they can fucking,
Mego,
they can fucking Nazi march, essentially. That's all the fucking toy has as an option,
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy now. You look at like some of the stuff that like Sideshow puts out, and it's like, this has 143 points of articulation, and you're just like, how the fuck is that even possible? And then they're like, look, there's all these different hands you can use, and you're just like, that's unbelievable. And then, you go back to like the old He-Man figure, it's some rubber. It's just a fucking little torso, his legs go one way, or they don't move at all. It's just standing there. Kind of cool.
But what I love is that they take figures that have never had that style, i.e. the Flash television series, Arrow television series,
it back. Yeah.
doing some of the horror movie characters.
I like that they have like, a lot of cult shit like Pulp Fiction or, Hellraiser, those kind of things. And I just think that, I mean, even like they got the modern shit, like Breaking Bad, those are fucking cool.
You have an awesome pre-market reaction we were discussing earlier. You've got your Burnt Face Gus Fring, which
amazing.
has the right sticker for a reaction that actually doesn't technically exist yet on the market.
Limited to 500 pieces.
Limited to 500 pieces, and you already have one.
I want to say it's 500, or maybe it's 250. I don't know. It's one of the two. It's fucking tiny run.
So
unbelievable that I got that. Just ridiculous.
If you were to pick one item from your entire toy collection as your opus, your fucking superstar best thing that's ever happened to you, or if you could pick the best story of how you came across a certain figure, what would you say is your?
I have so much shit.
Well, yeah, I know that. I've seen that.
I can't just pick out one.
But what I'm saying,
thing.
There's not one thing that just goes like to me. Okay.
I mean, obviously, one of the coolest things I think I have, and I just find it cool, is I have the Lucille replica bat, which is pretty sick.
Good
with
that we were
the barbed
talking
wire
about.
around it, and I mean, it's just a cool centerpiece. You walk in and you're like, holy shit. I mean, I have it surrounded by like Negan figurines and stuff like that.
You have a Negan shrine.
Yeah. I mean, I have like a shrine to it. Really.
I've got the Batman toll.
Yes.
The Batman toll. You've got the Negan shrine.
I mean, I got the Governor. I got those figures. I got all those exclusive ones.
Do you have a toy or a figure that's in your collection that just like I was saying, like just fell into your lap? Like you weren't expecting to get it. It was something extraordinarily hard to find. It was a right place, right time kind of fucking move.
I don't really have one that I just think, holy shit. I mean, obviously, dude, the burnt face Gus Fring reaction, like I had pre-ordered that, and I remember I pre-ordered it and I was excited. And I was like, man, this is supposed to be a really tiny run. It's going to be an Entertainment Earth exclusive, blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, hey, guess what? We over pre-ordered it. Sorry. And I was like, you know what? I did this the first fucking day. There's no way.
And then it came to pass
and
that...
I bitched about it to my wife, and my wife was like, I'll find it. And then Big Bad Toy Store, boom. I was like, no fucking way. And I couldn't even believe it was the real figurine. And we ordered it. And I was just like, yeah, Shot in the Dark. It's going to be, one of the other ones. It's not going to be what it says. And then it came, and I was just like, holy shit. I went, like, the next day even, I went on there after I was like, maybe I should just buy 2. Gone. And I was like, wow, that's sold out.
So
such a small run.
The reaction came, and then you came.
Yeah,
and it was a great moment.
Gus Fring's face never looked so
fucking sexy
just
and
like, you know what,
Kennard.
Yes, your eye hole.
Oh,
He's like an old Mexican Carl. It's perfect.
who wins, Gus Fring or Carl? I mean, we saw Rick Grimes and Walter White have a rap battle.
Gus Fring. Gus Fring's gonna kill Carl.
Dude, Carl's been trained by Negan though.
Yeah, but Gus Fring is too maniacal of a planner.
Okay.
I think he could outplan Carl at this stage.
All right.
Maybe he, I mean.
All right, I vibe you. So I've got a question.
Sure.
Are you ready to reveal to the world your random origin?
Sure.
Let me real quick just read it to myself and make sure I didn't typo the fuck out of it, because if I did,
it might even be funnier.
Well, you might fuck up really royally though. That happened. We had written and typed up Kevin's and sent it back to him on the 50th, and Brandon forgot the V in leaving. So Kevin's reading this and he goes, "Liaing? What is liaing?" Like, and it was just kind of like, oh, boner killer,
Boner killer.
Empathy's a boner killer. Okay, so let me come in here. Come on, you fuck.
I'm all like, hey, I'm gonna use this time to check my Facebook.
Of course.
Social media whore.
Yeah, well.
As the silence washes over. How?
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. No. Please tell me I just didn't just do that.
Did you delete it?
All changes will be discarded. Okay. Whew, I saved it. Oh, dude. Well, what happened was I tried to copy it, and instead of hitting copy for some fucking reason, because apparently I have no brain, I did paste. Well, so it pasted something over something. Do you want this on Facebook Messenger to read?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't. That's
okay,
fine. Whatever's easier for you to.
So
send me, cool.
Here's what I want from you when you do this. I want you to narrate this. It's in third person. So narrate it like you're telling a story. Use a in a world.
I got you. Yeah.
You
in a world.
Fucking give me the
That's
bacon.
so funny.
So, oh shit! Don't read it yet.
Don't read it. Not reading it.
Don't read it.
Sorry.
Don't read it because
try not to. It's trying to scroll.
Okay, here. Now.
Resend.
Read it. It's the second one, motherfucker. All right, so everybody, this is Anthony's random origin. Take it away, bro.
After waking up from a coma after being flagellated, Anthony awoke to a strange and desolate world where the lemons record the tacos. With his son Charles by his side, Anthony defends his group against all who seek to do harm to them. Using the powers of invisibility and his trusty weapon, her, a glaive he is now known as a spicy swim death. That sounds like what happens to me if I eat, like, habaneros and, like, nothing but, like, chicken skin.
Welcome. Welcome to the Journey into Comics family. Spicy swim death.
Spicy swim death.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
With your powers of invisibility and your trusty glaive named her. Which I think I could have worded better, but...
Lemons recording tacos is kind of weird.
Lemons recording tacos. It's where the lemons record the tacos. So, yeah. That's
very bizarre.
That's your random origin. So, what else you want to talk about, man? Throw something out there. Let's fucking have a 20-minute powwow about whatever the fuck.
You want to talk about movies or something like that?
Dude, you pick, man. I don't care.
We didn't really talk about Super. We kind of touched on it.
We did kind of touch on it.
It's so old and like just like all these people have seen it anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue, man. I will say though, if there's one thing that I think would be dope as fuck, if you could pick a movie that I've seen that you've seen. So, for example, you could. I think it would be fun to hear you sell the listeners some movie. I don't know which movie, whether it's it could be Interstellar, Whiplash, the John Wick. It could be any number of movies. Something, any. You could fucking talk about Hands on a Hard Body.
That
and,
movie's hilarious.
a snicker and an orange.
Yeah, it's essentially this movie that's like belongs in like a $2 DVD bin. Like you're at Walgreens, you're there getting Q-tips, and you look over and you're like, $2, huh? I can't resist this. What the fuck? And it basically is this documentary, Hands on a Hard Body, and these people, it's like 1992 or something like that, and they essentially, it's these hillbillies. It's this dealership in Texas that sells trucks, and they take a brand new truck of 1992 brand new, so it's shitty, and then but all these people think it's great because that's how it is, and
Texas.
they have to stand there with their hands on it, and the last one there wins the truck. And it's just this crazy cast of characters. I mean, you have every stereotype
And the walk of life.
I mean, and you have the guy who's won it before. And I mean, it's so many quotable things. I mean, just to hear somebody who's wearing a black cowboy hat, and you're like, and he's like, he says things like, if you can't stay with if you can't run with the big dogs, you better stay on the porch with the pups. And then, I mean, at one point, he makes a Highlander reference, and it's classic.
There can only be one.
It reminds me of a movie I saw once called Highlander. There can only be one.
One thing we need to mention is that this competition is not, hey, in one day who can stay the longest.
No.
It goes over several days.
Yes, they stand there for hours and hours and hours.
They don't sleep.
So they start to lose it.
Slip into dementia.
And that's what, and you can't lean. If you fall asleep, they're like, hey, you're eliminated. And it's important to note that they don't even do this anymore, because I want to say it was like the 4th or 5th year. Somebody they get breaks every how many hours they get a 15-minute
1
break.
hour every hour they get a 5-minute break, and every 6 hours they get a
15-minute break. Yeah, and I remember that it was across the street from this Kmart, and a guy walked over, and it was back when you could just get guns, bought a gun and killed himself
in the parking
lot, and they were like, yeah, we can't do this anymore.
Oh, that's intense.
They even have I think there's even a Facebook group
dedicated to this,
dedicated to it. That I mean, I've tried to search for Benny, the hillbilly, to see if he had a Facebook.
Oh,
because I was like, hey, I know this guy's real name.
I feel
He's
like,
old.
dude,
he probably doesn't even. They don't even have electricity where he lives.
I was gonna say, I feel like that Benny guy died in 2001 or some shit. There's no way that dude's still kicking. He was rugged even then.
There's the characters in it. I mean, they're just so good. You got the religious lady who believes that God's gonna give her the truck.
Yep, you've got
you got this old dude. I mean, you got a guy who's the oldest contestant. He's in his 70s, I think, or late 60s. Then you got this young guy who looks just like Carrot Top, who drives a Volkswagen in Texas.
Tell us about the guy that's scared of storms.
Oh yeah, there's this good old country boy, and he works out in I wouldn't say field because that just sounds terrible. But he essentially, I mean, he's just this. I mean, he's got the Soul Glow hair, stripping,
Oh yeah,
and he doesn't think the competition's going to be a big deal at all. I think he likens it to being in a track meet, and as long as every break he'll eat an orange and a Snickers, or a Snickle. I want to get a Snickle.
Orange.
Get an orange, or a Snickle. I'll be all right. And then I remember him saying, as long as it don't lightning, no. These storms come through here, and then maybe I have to go, but otherwise I'm in it for the long haul. Just give me another Snickles.
Over orange.
How many Snickers have you had? And he's like, how many breaks we done had? I mean, that's a classic, and you could download it. You could find a torrent of it.
Yeah,
I know it's out there.
It's
that's some bizarre shit.
It is too, and it's so fascinating because like at the 27 or
It's one of those
30 hour
movies you
mark.
need to watch when you're just completely enlightened, to put it mildly. But I mean, you just think it's hilarious.
But it's the best way to put it, man. And I hope this, makes all the sense in the world. It's a movie where you kind of get to see the psychosis of people and like watching them slip into a different parallel of who they are.
It's like a character study of all these people that are just like, they're so desperate, like, to win. The one girl walks like however many miles, like she's like, I walked here and I put my entry in, and then when they weren't looking, I tried to sneak another entry in, and you're like, are you fucking serious? Just to stand there and try to win a truck,
Dude, and then there's funny, like, hilarious fuck-ups in the competition. The one girl takes
she's
both of her hands off
She's talking to the
and
camera.
walks
What do you
to
mean
the camera.
and they don't even realize it, and they've all been there so long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're just slipping into seventh circles of hell.
I mean, when you're standing there for 80 hours,
but dude, I think
that's a long time.
I think it would be super dope.
Where were you 80 hours ago? Think of how long. Think about it like that.
Dude, I have a question.
That's 3 days. 3 days ago, right now, and from there you're just literally standing with your hands on a truck and you can't take them off.
3 days ago would be Tuesday.
I believe so. Yeah.
So Tuesday.
Well, no, because say we started at Tuesday night, so Wednesday night, Thursday night. That's only 48 hours.
Okay, so wow, Monday. Monday, I was going to get Batman Arkham Knight.
Okay, now think about how long ago that is, and I'm sure you've been playing the shit out of the game.
Dude, it's so good. But
now think about that entire time, everything you've done. Driving to get groceries, you going to the restroom, none of that. All you're doing is standing at a truck.
Trip to Lowell.
With just countless amounts of
dude,
country music playing. If that's not enough to drive you crazy,
I'm in a fucking movie. I'm an extra in a movie.
That's kind of cool.
Chronospunk 2.
The sequel.
Yeah, which I don't even know there was a first one, but
totally spunked up, right? That's the tagline.
Maybe. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds good.
Chronospunk 2.
All spunking over.
It's why it's Chronospunk 2, but there wasn't a Chronospunk 1. It's just to get you thinking.
I'm thinking that's the case, but it's like a
what is Chronospunk? I mean, is that like you came in a timely manner? I Chronospunked.
Maybe, but it's like, here's what I gathered, and hopefully I'm not like divulging spoilers. I told the guys,
absolutely not.
I told the guys,
and I'm not talking. And I hope that didn't sound like I was making fun of the art or the craft of doing it.
No. It was interesting to kind of see how movies are filmed, mainly because. So here's the little insight to what exactly happened. We went to Beer Geeks in Highland at 11 in the morning, and we filmed for 4 hours, and it was the same scene in this same bar with multiple different various shots and different actions and reactions, and I was sitting across.
The beautification of editing makes it all seamless, but people don't realize, at the same time,
it's a lot of fucking work
and
a lot of
the same thing over and over and over.
I will say, they
just lost the headphones almost.
Oh, that sucks. I will say they kind of were just like, okay, that was good enough, and they weren't like, I'm a fucking perfectionist, and I would have been like, no, like I understand with these guys, it's their art. If there is a first
it's one
Chronospunk,
thing if you're an extra and they're just like, hey, do your own thing, but if you're sitting there taking that much direction, you better be getting fucking paid for it.
Yeah,
like that's the way I look at it.
Which
look, you could tell me I'll do however you want, but I mean at the same time, I don't need to kill myself and go above and beyond and do the same shit over and over for literally a 2-second spot where you might see my face.
Yeah,
which
most likely they were joking that we stole the scene, but it was like I said, it was just an interesting experience to go from like, we're shooting at this angle and we're going to do these shots, and we're shooting at this angle and we're going to do these shots, and we're shooting at this angle and we're going to do these shots, and going through all that. But I told those guys, I was like, look, you could come on the podcast sometime and we'll discuss it. They're going to be doing a premiere of the movie sometime like next year, I think they said. So we can all go and then maybe do a review on this weird fucking movie. I have no idea what it's about.
Chronospunk 2. Spunked again.
Spunk all over me. So.
And then they're going to do a prequel. The pre-Chronospunk. The build-up. How do you sell them on that? Pre-Chronospunk. Foreplay.
That makes me think of the new South Park game,
Oh my god! You know what?
The Fractured Butthole.
I was scrolling on Facebook and I happened to see that was like one of the E3 announcements they were talking about, and I love that game. It's super fun. I know Brando loved it. I'm sure.
I loved it. It was in my top 10, top 5.
Just a game that didn't take itself too seriously. That's the kind of shit you like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it had great replay value. But anyways, what I was going to say before we start talking about Hands on a Hard Body, we've kind of just played the whole...
tangenting. We're
riffing.
This is great. You could splice any of this into any random Journey into Comics episode and it would fit perfectly.
Yeah, but this is your first episode. We're just going. This is the whole thing.
I love that it's going to be a 2-hour fucking podcast.
It's only 1 hour and 30 minutes right now. But what I was going to say is I think it'd be super dope as
What's the longest podcast you ever did?
Well, as of now, 2 hours and 46 minutes. Brando and Wes.
That would be what, 50? Was it 50?
No. Brando and Wes. The E3 review that just went up a few weeks ago.
Makes sense. I mean, a lot to talk about. You could
Tons to talk about.
Yeah, you could literally just pick a developer.
They recorded
and just
that.
sit there and go at it.
It's crazy. They recorded that during that gnarly storm that happened last weekend, which has been several weekends to whoever's listening to this now. A few weekends
flood
ago,
mode.
But
flash flood warning.
Dude, they had several times where the connection dropped. And Brandon seamlessly edited it together to adjust. And it really doesn't seem like he took anything out or changed anything or even mentioned that they had dropped the call. They were just so good at staying within what they were talking about that you never would have noticed, you know.
Right.
But you know, the 50th was only an hour and 47 minutes. It was super short, very concise, got a lot of work done.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Played some games. No, no worries. I don't really care. I don't remember what I was saying though.
I don't either. You just said that.
What I was gonna say is you had mentioned that maybe every other week we can do a show or we can do some stuff. So what I think is we could do a show and then we could also have it to where you review one specific movie and we'll just do it. We'll do a separate track.
I do watch a lot of weird movies, a lot of B shit. Like I don't even.
Indie stuff that's super dope.
That people don't even see, and then I'm like, hey, you know what? You need to check this out.
Through the Void.
Touching the Void.
Great
documentary.
Dude, ridiculous. But if you would just we could do it where you could just talk about one movie and then we can throw it on any episode randomly and just have
I'd be cool with it.
Anthony's movie review. Boom.
I wish we could take callers. Hey, what do you got? Click. You know, it'd be cool.
Well, we've been talking about this. And
you're like, I'm going to call Brandon right now and just ask him some shit. Speakerphone.
No, he's at work.
What are you doing?
So
what are your thoughts?
Movie review with spicy swim death.
Pre-spunk. Pre-Chronospunk.
The Forkening.
I think when I laugh, it's kind of girlish, but sometimes I laugh where I sound like the evil cat, you know, you know.
I got it queued up, motherfucker.
Oh, God.
I could do it anytime.
We killed these people with Goldblum, and we don't even care.
No, you know, here's the deal, folks.
You got to have fun when you do
it. It's random, and...
Dare I say you're introducing chaos? Is this chaos? Which way do you believe the water droplet's going to go?
To me, man, this podcast is such a cool outlet because we can talk about whatever. We can do whatever. I'm searching something, folks, so you just keep doing your thing. So, Anthony.
So, Nate.
Tell me something. Anything.
I don't even know what to say.
I have a response.
Please.
Okay.
Epic. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's just fantastic. The best. Oh, man.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, that's almost as good as the Jurassic Park where you see the dinosaurs on the YouTube clip and then it's just like
that's the melodica.
That's so good.
Like I said, that was back in Baller Minutia. I Am Taco if you want to check it out. man, is there anything you want to close with? Is there something? Like I said, we're literally just riffing. So anything off the top of our heads, we could discuss any multitude of things and whatever. I don't fucking, man, we're just riffing. This is a new thing where I'm just sitting down with you and we're just fucking
Random.
rolling it.
That's like how I live my life on random mode.
I agree. You are a very random person.
Yeah,
You just do
I'm
what
a
you
creature
do.
of habit. I'm reclusive. I don't do much.
I'm gonna say, how about you pick? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. And
Okay.
and keep in mind, here are a few things I want you to remember. One, don't feel afraid to censor yourself because I don't give a fuck. Okay.
Well, I know that.
Number two, the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. Okay. Second,
By the way, interesting fact. I believe I read this correctly. The other day I read that I want to say in every scene of that movie, there's a Starbucks coffee cup.
makes sense.
And I was just like, that's very interesting. I need to go back and watch that.
And look
see.
for the Starbucks coffee
Yeah,
cup.
maybe am I crazy? You know, I mean, there's lots of...
So, not to put you on the spot, and like I said, totally up to you. But just for fucking shits and giggles, do you have a really funny story? Because, guys, Anthony, one thing I want to mention, and all honesty, is that one thing I love about this guy is that he is so fucking brilliant at his ability to tell you stories of things that have happened to him in his life. So, what I mean by that is he can very easily put you in a moment of his life and tell a story with such intelligence that, to me, it seems like a crime to the world that he hasn't tried stand-up comedy.
No, nonsense.
No, seriously. And
Too much credit, sir.
I think here's what we should do. Pick any story of yours that you like. You can tell. I don't care. Anyone. You can tell whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And we'll let the fucking people decide. And we'll get some feedback from
I mean,
this.
I do have a couple really good stories.
I mean, you've got some solid ones.
Most of which I'm doing like illegal, illicit activities that I don't really care.
Allegedly.
Alleged. It's all alleged.
So these are alleged stories. See, you can't be in trouble from allegedly.
I allegedly ate a whole ounce of mushrooms by myself. Yeah, that's cool. that works real well. You know, allegedly I was high as fuck and Cyndi Lauper was going through my brain. But no, I mean I don't know. I got some stories. I'm trying to think of one that is kind of not too long.
I got time.
Hey, it's summer. Amusement parks, right?
Okay.
Can't go to them anymore. I'm too fat. Like literally, like, and that's not even like mocking. I'm 6'4", 350 plus, not fitting on most shit. Just not gonna happen.
Fair.
They're like, oh, look at this little tester chair, and I'm like, well, I'll be waiting for you at the end of the thing. I'm gonna go get some food again, because that's all it is. Unless I go to the water park, which not gonna do.
Lazy River.
Yeah, what am I gonna be that guy with like the shirt on? Then you're like, oh god, that poor guy. Like, what the fuck is he doing? I hate people like that.
Or there's the guy that he does have the shirt on, but he was stupid and wore a plain white T-shirt,
time-
so his nipples pop through.
One time when I was in like high school, I went to Deep River Water Park, and I had just watched Billy Madison,
Okay.
and a friend of mine, we went like with his family or something, like I wasn't even that old. I had to be like 15, 16 maybe.
Okay.
And we get there. It's your standard day, we pay way too much than what it should be to get in. You're like, great, shit's crowded, trying to be cool. You're like, oh my god, there's all these hot chicks around.
Hot.
And one of my favorite things to do is to immediately locate the first water weenie tower where those little kids are like filling up those things that,
Yeah.
and just laugh at them when they overfill it and it pops. Because it's hilarious. And, like, literally, you could just stand there for 15, 20 minutes and just laugh your ass off at watching these kids do it. And there's always that kid of, like, I just fucking broke it. I think I fucking broke it. And you're like, their parents just paid out the ass to get it. But anyway, so do that for a little bit. We decide to go on some sides. Stupid shit. Well, we get to laughing about where he's in the pool in Billy Madison and he draws the fucking smiley face and sunscreen. And I thought, being a large character, that it'd be hilarious to do that. Like, I was just like, this is going to be funny as hell. So we see this row of just smoking hot women. Like, way beyond anything that I could ever try to attain. I mean, dynamite at the time. I mean, obviously I'm married now, but she's a
saving face.
Great gal.
He's
yeah.
like, fuck, I'm married.
Great
Let's
gal.
not forget that.
But
folks.
man, these smoking pieces of snatch. Like that's what my brain was thinking of when I was like, then, and I decide that I'm gonna act really serious, and I pull up a lawn chair. We're like right next to these chicks who aren't giving me. They're not paying attention. They don't give a fuck.
You're not even getting a second
Yeah,
glance.
it's not like I walk by and they're like, "Oh my god, it's Brad Pitt," And so I apply the sunscreen and I make this big smiley face. I look like the fucking. I mean, it is just. I got my nipples covered in the cream. I got these huge eyebrows on there. I drew a big ass mouth. Like it looked like if I jiggled my fat, like my belly button was the mouth and it was talking. Like that's how good it was. I mean, it was serious. And I just lay down dead serious, like I'm getting a tan, like those dudes that wear like tap out shirts. You know what I mean? And pretty soon there's like this large crowd, and everyone thinks it's hilarious. And I'm like, man, this isn't that fucking funny, And I'm squinting, like I could barely see, and I see the girls get up and move. So then I'm like, well, how long can I stay here? The gig's kind of up, it served its purpose. So I lean over to tell my buddy that, I'm going to go wash this shit off because we've been laying in the sun for probably a good 20 minutes. And I mean, I am pale white. So like when I say Michelin Man, I'm not joking. It's bright
like
white.
ashy white.
Yeah. And so I already know I'm sunburned. Like I know there's no fucking way that I'm not. And I was like, hey man, we need to go wash this shit off. And I look over, and my buddy is behind me. He was out of my field of view, and he had literally wrote on his chest, gay, and an arrow pointing at me, thinking it was hilarious, right? And all the people were laughing that he was making fun of me. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, when you're 15 back in the day,
It's hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, shit, Well, we get up and we leave, and it's, like, not a big deal. We go into, like, those weird, like, locker room things that they have that I never quite understand. And we wash everything off. And I look like the fucking Kool-Aid guy. I mean, it is literally the reddest skin that looks like it's going to blister. And then the sunblock is pure white. Like, the smiley face is so bright that, like, I didn't notice, until, like, I really washed it all off. And I was like, holy shit, dude. I just tanned this
like you
huge
cooked
face on my body, I immediately felt the urge to jump through the wall and be like, oh, yeah, So my buddy's laughing, and then he gets this serious face, and he's standing there, and his arms are crossed. I'm like, what's going on? Well, my buddy, who was hairy as fuck, which was creepy, he literally, when he had sat up to, like, look around, he smushed the arrow underneath. And so literally tanned on him, it just said gay, and it was underlined. So like we leave the little the sanctuary of the locker or whatever, and the whole day people would be like, look, it's the Kool-Aid guy, and then my buddy's walking with his fucking arms crossed, and then when he would get on the water slide, the people would notice and they would all laugh and shit. It was funny as fuck, but I mean, you kind of had to be there.
Gay.
Stupid shit like that.
Gay.
Yeah.
He
had gay underlined on himself. It was hilarious.
I'm just trying to envision that moment. Like, dude, because I get the allure. How old did you say you were? 15, 16?
Yeah, I'd be like 15 or 16.
Okay, so yeah, you're doing this. Okay, haha, funny,
You
Billy
think
Madison.
You're being funny, yeah.
And you did more damage to yourself than you ever realized.
Literally, like, I'm the kind of guy that goes outside once, sunburns, and then is tan the whole time. And I had that tan on my skin for, it had to be a month. Like, I'd be in school and we'd be changing for gym and people would still laugh. You gonna come break through the wall, guy? I was be like, shut up, man.
You're like, oh god, this
it was
joke
so
is
funny.
old. Well, at least you didn't get branded Kool-Aid guy throughout your high school career.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I've done lots of stupid shit. I remember when I had my my open house when I graduated.
Okay.
And I got all this money to go to school, which I didn't do. Did not do. It wasn't even like that much, that much money. Like you think you're gonna get like all this money. You're like, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I ended up getting like, I don't even know. It was like $1,500 or something like that. Like, enough to get me started somewhere if I was going to do it, whatever, get a computer or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wasted it going on a trip to New York. And on the way there, we decided we were going to go to like the Baseball Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame, shit like that. Well, we stopped at Kings Island. And we were like, hey, we'll go to these amusement parks. It'll be fantastic. We were staying in hotels. I was spending money. I didn't give a fuck. Way out of our league, wearing robes, having a laugh, And anyway, sorry, getting off track. And we go to Kings Island. And I'm like, hey, let's do this. We walk around and we find some shit. We go on a couple coasters, ones that I could fit on. I wasn't as portly then as I am now, so it was much easier to fit on shit. I was still a large guy, but we go on like their version of like the giant drop, and I remember getting into the seat, and I'm like, fuck, I can't pull this. They didn't have tester chairs then,
No,
it's not like it is now. And I remember being like, fuck, I can't get this overhead thing down. Like on me, I was too broad. The shoulder thing, yeah.
That latches
the
you
like
in.
life vest looking type deal that straps you in.
Yeah.
The crossbar or whatever around my belt, that seemed to be fine. I'm just sitting there kind of uncomfortable. The thing's smushing your balls. You know how it is.
Oh God, it's the worst.
And so I'm like, man, I don't think I could ride this. And there's like 4 chairs to a side or however the fuck it is.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
I start to get off, and these carny dudes come up. The dudes who clearly accomplish more in life than I'll ever will running the ride at Kings Island. So they think they can get me in it. And I was like, look, man, I can't fucking fit.
I can accept it.
Like,
yeah.
You know what? I'd rather, we're here already. I waited this fucking long. I might as well just walk over there. It's going to go up. I'm going to leave, no big deal. I didn't want to fucking do it anyway because it was really fucking high. And I was like, you know what? I don't know about all that. So these dudes fucking are determined to get me on this ride. And literally, like, the seats were, like, recessed down. Like, they lowered down so you could sit in them. And then they latch you in. And these dudes, like, fucking stand on use their feet to push this thing closed. And it latches. And I can barely fucking breathe. I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, it was the equivalent of, like, trying to fit into, like, a Geo Metro. Something not going to happen. Like, I look like fucking... like Donkey Kong in like Mario Kart, like the kart's so small and he's so big. Like I felt like that on this thing, and I literally could barely breathe. Like it was short bursts, and I was like, "This thing is so fucking tight, holy shit!" They barely got it to click. So it starts to go up, and I'm miserable. I don't even want to be there. Everyone's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be fun. This is gonna be cool," and literally like halfway up, it's just like. Ping! And I'm like, what the fuck? Well, the belt, like where it cling together, where the yellow part like met where your crotch was at, the weld broke. And it completely fucking was just like, I could raise it up over my head. Oh my God, what the fuck? And I had all of this space, and I start screaming like bloody murder that I'm going to fucking die. And I can see the dudes down there, and I'm high enough to where they can't really tell, but I know that they're just like, that fat motherfucker's so scared. Look at that guy. He's such a pussy, And I'm like, let me down. I'm going to fucking die. Like I'm screaming at them, like, please save me, like, what the fuck? And,
hey, if you
my buddy next to me is pale white, scared, like, dude, oh my God. And I'm like, we're getting near the top of this fucking thing. And I'm telling you, I literally was like trying not to piss my pants. And I'm screaming and screaming and screaming. Then I, of course, go through the phase where you're like, I got to pray a little bit. Like, please, God, everyone's laughing. And I can hear the other people on the other side. They have no idea. They can't see it.
Yeah.
So they just think, man, this dude has lost his fucking mind. And fucking, it stops. And I'm like, oh my God, we're at the top. I'm going to fucking fly out of this thing. I'm going to fucking die, And literally it drops, and I flew so far fucking out of that seat. And then like there's a second like security feature where it like catches and it locks like well after it's super flexible. Like I had so much clearance. You
could have damn near stood up in it.
Yeah, it was like you putting a little kid in a that's like 5 in a 4XL vest. They have all that room. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, oh my God, look at this fishing vest. It was like that. And I was just like, holy shit. And I remember flying way up in the seat. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then all of a sudden, we hit the point where it stops. And I fucking just crack my nuts right on that fucking thing. And we're low, it's down. And I fucking fall out. And I just fucking just splash onto the concrete, and I'm just like, ugh. And I mean, I hit so hard. It was just like, thud. Like, just, absolute nut crushing. And I fell to the ground, and everyone was laughing so hard, and I fucking survived.
Okay, but I gotta ask, because I've heard this story before, but I gotta ask, I don't think I know this. Did the carnies see what had happened once you were out and go, oh my fucking God?
I'm pretty sure they were terrified that, like, if I was smarter, I probably would have tried to sue them or something like that.
Oh.
But, like, at the time, like, I mean, it wasn't like I was dead. And, I mean, literally, like, I didn't fly out of it. It was terrible, though. It was lowering real slow.
God, because that's like a 200-foot drop.
I just completely, I mean, it doesn't go all the way down and then just slam on the brakes.
Did you bruise your dick?
I didn't.
No nut bruising,
and then again,
nothing?
It's hard to see. Like, it wasn't like I examined it, like...
Hey, you got any bruises on my cock here? Let me get the
like,
mirror out.
Let me do the bat wing,
Let me check out the taint. Let's see what's going on,
Put these legs tilted back, get real serious with it.
Put up a fucking mirror on the wall and fucking lay on the ground with your
this.
back and
Nobody
lift your legs up.
Nobody deserves to see this. This isn't like D-grade pornography.
Oh,
the dude ready to get his salad tossed is completely tilted back.
You know what? You told a fucking funny story. I have one. It
wasn't that funny.
It is really funny, actually.
I'll tell you what. Being there and having it happen was terrifying.
Terrifying, but
it's kind of funny.
But I have a story that was recently re-brought up. I think it was Brando and I that were talking about it, maybe. I don't remember. Brandon can fact check me if you want. But we'll maybe close with this. It is moving on to the 2-hour mark here. This is a GameStop story.
Okay.
Now, back when I worked at GameStop, one thing I will say is you got a lot of weird shit in trade, okay?
Oh, I'm sure.
People would bring in old games like that we couldn't take, old PS1 games and
stuff
shit.
You're not even seeing, like.
And I'd be like, "Oh, well, $12 for all that." And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure, I don't want it. Fuck it, take it. Final Fantasy VII, here you go." No idea that they're giving me, $50, $75 of stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff, whatever. And yeah, that's against GameStop policy, but fuck them and they fucked me. So it worked out.
Better. Yeah.
Anyways, this is hands down there's like creepy weird, and then there's just this moment that sticks in my mind where I feel like I maybe changed a kid's life with how I handled this trade. So let's set this up. It's the middle of June, okay? So it's around this time of the year. It's really warm out, like sweaty, disgusting weather, where it's so fucking humid.
Muggy. Yeah,
you can't even in the air, you're just like, fuck, it's not good enough. So I'm sitting behind the counter and I'm just fucking dreading the day, and this very churchly looking mom and this very churchly looking grandmother and this fucking kind of weird, like 12 or 13-year-old looking kid walk into GameStop, and they've got a big stack of the GameCube games and they're going to trade them in. And I start going through, and the kids got, like kind of a variety, some Mario stuff, some
Jehovah's Witnesses too,
some third-party stuff, some they might have been Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not really sure. So they're trading stuff in, and I'm looking. And one thing you have to do when you worked at GameStop is you'd scan everything in one by one. But the first thing you would do is you'd open the case, look at everything, check the disc.
Yeah, no scratches.
If the disc doesn't look scratched, you put that in the approved pile. If it's way too scratched looking, you put it in the defective pile. And sometimes people would argue, well, that's not defective. It still plays, and you can check it. And if it still played, you'd fucking give them credit, whatever. So this kid gives me these GameCube games, and I'm going through them. And I feel like it was maybe like a Tony Hawk or a Dave Mirra game. And I open it up. And GameCube discs, they're
tiny.
little,
Yeah,
right? They're
small.
fucking like...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the GameCube
Size
case,
of a coaster at best.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tiny.
so in the GameCube case is a full-size DVD, okay? And at first I'm just like, well, that's weird. That's what is this, a PlayStation
this is
disc?
awkward. Yeah, this is awkward. It's obviously in the wrong case.
So I quick glance it, and then I'm like, I need to figure out what game this is. So I look back, and the title on the disc, no fucking, not kidding, not shitting you or anything, Mexican Butt Sluts.
That sounds like a GameCube game that I would be good at.
So, so I'm like, we don't take the, like there's the pile of shit that I can take, and then there's the defective stuff, and then there's also a pile of stuff that we don't accept if it's a DVD or something.
Did you look right at him and be like, no bueno, and then hand him the disc back as if to like give him code, don't show your parents this? I don't want to pull this out in front of your grandmother, but...
I told you that I might have saved this kid's life or changed his life.
Wait, I gotta know. Was there a picture on the disc?
Oh, yeah. And it was full
Like
penetration
dirty,
into
just-
her ass, dude. I
just
mean, no
looked like-
kidding.
I mean,
just-
to me, if you're gonna make a cover CD like for Mexican butt sluts, I would put the asshole right in the center ring where it fits onto the CD player. Yeah, and then
the spindle section
Yeah.
of the disc. So
an anal spirograph, if you will, like just spinning around, it would look hilarious.
So here's what happens. So I have a couple options here, right? I can
Let me go ahead and pull this up. See what the store credit's going to be. Mexican butt sluts. That's in our defective file. I'm sorry, we can't give you any credit for that.
So here's what really happened. So he, I
Did you
take
it home and masturbate to it?
Oh no, God, no!
I thought
just,
maybe you took it yourself.
just wait the story out, my friend.
I'm sorry. I'm
You're
intrigued.
ripe with anticipation. I know.
So
So
apparently, so were those Mexicans. Mexican butt sluts.
So just for shits and giggles, I look at the disc, I put it back, and I go, unfortunately, we don't take this one. And I close the clamshell, and I slide
You're being
it.
very discreet.
And I
Give
slide
him
it.
every opportunity. Give him a wink. Right?
Okay, between you to me, I slid it like a little, like nearly halfway, right?
Yeah.
And I'm working on other parts of the trade. It hasn't moved, okay? And I think he's realizing what the fuck happened. So I'm working.
Yeah, not arguing like, hey, why do you mean you don't take that?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
like something bizarre is going on.
I'm scanning and doing whatever, and then the mom looks at the grandma, looks at me, and the grandma goes, well, why can't you take that one? And I'm like, in the moment, okay, and I have no bullshit meter. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what's going to come out of my mouth
If you
next.
said it's a shitty disc, I would lose it. Mexican butt sluts, and you're like, it was a shitty disc. You couldn't take it.
I can't cuss. That's the problem with being
yeah.
professional in a retail job. You can't cuss. Well, you could. But
I
you
would.
You have to know who you can cuss around.
So I don't have those jobs.
So
Yeah, the churchly looking type, you're not going to bust the word shitty out.
I'm just like, and I'm like, you know what? Hold on one second. And I grab it back, and I fucking open it a second time, and I reinspect the disc, and I go, what?
Now your hand is covering up
Correct,
the label.
correct.
They
and
can't see
no, they
this.
can't because there's a computer in front of me.
There's not like a J-Lo looking face.
No, they
It's-
can't see anything.
Okay.
They literally have no periph
I
to
gotcha.
my look in. So I open it back up and I look at the disc and I'm like, oh, hold on, let me double check, and I fuck around on the
You
computer
mimic
for
like
a
you're
second.
taking it, but you're not
Exactly.
doing anything. You're just stalling. for the
I
kid.
am stalling, right? And I go, oh, you know what? Good news. We actually do take this one, and I slide it to the fucking side, okay? This kid is pale fucking ghost white. Like, he knows he was inches from the worst death. He
Suddenly
also
you go from you're trading in games to get more games
Well,
to you're grounded and now you don't
have games anymore,
Yeah,
and you're 12 and have porn,
yeah,
you know?
like, what are you doing? Whose
So
is this? You stole this from grandma?
I'm thinking he stole it from his older brother. That's my guess, okay? If I
Yeah,
were to
doesn't
guesstimate.
wanna get him in trouble.
Okay, so he's just pale white, and we finish the transaction or whatever. Here's where the story gets properly fucked. So,
Again with the puns, I love it.
bingo. So, night closes up, and I've told everyone at work that day this story. You have to tell this story to everyone, like, oh, dude, you'll never believe.
Yeah, I mean, and
this little
it's-
shit came in,
It's
and
part of
he-
your lore of like what people try to trade in and stuff. It's like what you would gossip about as a GameStop employee.
Exactly.
You're never gonna believe this guy came in and tried to give me, some Atari shit.
So one of the things that kind of was awesome about the crew we had at GameStop is we all hung out on a regular basis. We were all really good friends with each other. So I called everybody who worked at the store. I called everybody who I knew would appreciate it. We all got together in my apartment. We put it in.
You viewed it. Oh my God.
We watched 5 minutes. And I watched a bloody dick from her ass go directly into her mouth. And we took it out of the thing, and I threw it off my fucking balcony into the street and watched it explode before a semi hit it.
That's
Done.
crazy.
Done. So
that was the end of Mexican butt sluts.
The final result of Mexican butt sluts is if you've got a brown, red dick fucking, and it goes into a woman's mouth, it was like D-grade porn. It was very bad. Not in good taste.
Very, very well placed. God, that was hilarious.
That was good. So this was the first fucking Anthony episode.
It wasn't bad.
The first appearance of Anthony.
It was that fart. It was a good one.
What are you? Spicy swim death.
Good. Spicy swim death will make his appearance. I don't have
He
any.
just
I don't
made
have a cool
dude. You have
origin story like
you
like
have
Brando
you have invisibility and a glaive named her. I mean, what more do you want?
I wish the glaive was named something else.
Well, I told you to give me a name, and you're like her.
I'm pretty sure you said pronoun, and I immediately was like her.
Yeah, it works. I like it though. I mean, Lemon's recording the tacos. It's
very bizarre.
It's good. It's wild. It's
food
random.
Themed. It's food themed.
Yeah. So, and you're a foodie. That's a whole nother episode. Talking about food all day.
Epic mealtime. Sign me up.
In closing, is there anything you want to say? I've got some plugs I've got to throw out there.
Enjoyed the time on the show,
Cool.
Appreciate it. It's fun to be on there. I hope, wish you nothing but many more successes.
Thank you.
Brando too, the whole Journey into Comics crew.
You're part of that crew now.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Shout out to the people I've never met before. Shuddy Boy and the gang, like Westicles. You still owe me a fucking taco picture. So
Signed.
I'm calling you out right now.
Signed with his alter ego.
Signed. I want the origin story on the back of it.
We could put his. Did I read? Oh yeah. He's Spork, classy dude named Spork.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So to close, don't forget you can check us out on iTunes.
Podbean.
Podbean.com. JourneyIntoComics.podbean.com is most likely where you're listening to this. You can also find us.
I prefer, honestly. You can control. To me, it seems like I can control the volume much better.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if there's a difference. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I always think that it sounds better on the Podbean stream than the iTunes stream.
Okay, fair enough. So that's a listener recommendation to check us out on Podbean over the iTunes because you'll have better control. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Journey into Comics. We just finished posting everybody who was involved doing a top 25 comic book character list to make our top 50 countdown.
I was not a part of that. I'm kind of sad. But I did suggest that you should do a countdown.
You kind of created the idea, so I wanted you to...
Of some kind. So I feel like I participated.
You kind of were the spawn of it because you're like, dude, you should do a top 50 countdown. And it was like, obviously. So I kind of wanted to keep you in the dark about it so you could enjoy it
it was cool
as a
seeing
listener.
It on, on the Facebook as each different person. I mean, you had a lot of more people than I thought list. I mean, I'm pretty sure you had like Corey Hampshire.
Yeah, Corey.
Cool shit on there like that.
We had, Kevin... Sarah,
tons of stuff. Yeah.
We had a couple listeners do some lists. Tim, shout out to you,
shout out.
Nate. But you mentioned Facebook. You can check out Journey into Comics on Facebook. We post
like the page
kind of often. Yeah, like our page, man. It's not that hard. And then also, if you already like our page, here's one thing I try to strongly suggest to people. And I know that maybe this is me being overzealous and asking too much of the common listener. But if you have a Facebook and you like us already, there's a spot on there to say invite your friends, and you can click all of your friends to like us. So it'll just
exponentially grow your liking.
exactly. So if you share to or literally go through and click all your 1,000 friends on your 1,000 friends or however many people you have, maybe 300 like us. That doubles us immediately, right? And then let's say someone on your list listens to this and goes, fuck, I can do that too. And they do it. It's growing this out because we want people to hear us. We're not doing this for money or any of that bullshit. We're doing it because we just like talking about shit. I mean, plain and simple.
It was, yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of shied away from doing all this shit, like, a lot. But the more I sat here and just talked to you, it's like I didn't even realize I was on a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and that's how podcasts are. So check us out on all of our various places. We also are a part of Pod Directory. And let me just say, if you are the motherfucker who signed us up for Pod Directory, thank you, whoever you are, because literally, folks, Brandon didn't do it, I didn't do it, Anthony didn't do it, and Tim didn't do it. And those are the 4 culprits who I would have highly suspected to be who would have. What Pod Directory is essentially a place where all the podcasts go.
I love in closing and then like 15 minutes later.
Tangenting, I know.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But whoever did this, you put us on this Pod Directory thing where more people can find us and have access to us. I appreciate that. We just want to be heard. Again, we're not trying to do a fucking Kickstarter or any of that shit. Maybe someday we'll Kickstarter. Who knows?
What was my Kickstarter idea for you earlier?
To get my number 1 Walking Dead.
To get Walking Dead number 1.
And if that happened, dude, literally, we would, you know what I would do, honest to God, if a Kickstarter happened and people pledged a certain amount.
You would have to do like, yeah, you'd have
we
to
would
do like
throw
a raffle or something.
we would throw a massive party.
Cool.
We would throw a massive party. If we raised enough money, I would buy a second Walking Dead number 1 and raffle it off. Like $1 raffle tickets for everybody. You only get one. So whoever shows up, high odds to get a number 1, I mean, right? And then have all of my Walking Deads displayed. All 100 and however many issues by that time. Cool. And then just do the Journey into Comics live, talk about whatever's fucking current.
Yeah, YouTube it.
And then, yeah, YouTube it. It'll be great. But anyways, this was episode I don't know what fucking number, because we're going to put this wherever we want.
Hey, splice it. Don't give a fuck.
We don't, really. But again, I want to thank you.
Hey, thank you for having me on the program.
For coming on. It was a long time coming.
Absolutely.
But it was a lot of fun, and it's like we've done this a million times. So,
yeah, I mean, it just felt natural.
But we talk like fucking chatty Cathys all the time anyway, so that is what it is. But
about mindless, awesome shit.
Fuck yeah. So maybe we can rope Anthony into eventually getting an Instagram so he can post some of those toys that he's got, because, man, your collection's pretty dope.
It's not that great. I see, I'm looking at your, like, pop vinyl wall and stuff, and I'm like, man, I
don't.
But you know what? I guess it's like I don't have, like... I want to have more pieces than what I have. But what I do have is pretty cool.
That's fair. See, my thing is, okay, so you look at the pop wall, and here's one thing I feel like maybe people fall into is they don't look at it like, oh, these are really cool pieces, and those are really neat things to have. Some people who know the pop vinyl game go, oh my God, look at the dollar amount.
Yeah, they just ran.
And I never,
like, that's $800, and you're like, what?
Even now, I don't collect to have them for money. I mean, ultimately someday, yeah, I could retire on these, you never know. Because
what's crazy is, like, if you took somebody who didn't really know about that, they're instantly going to go for the lowest number 1. They're going to look and say, oh, Thor's on top. That's pretty important. He was like the first one, and that is not even the most valuable pop you have.
Correct.
Super cool.
I mean,
it's like a surprise, like, hey, hello.
And I don't know if I told you about this, but we talked about doing a game where people picked high and low for the pops, because there are so many in this room. You get to choose, like, pick one for a high value, one for a low value, and then see how close you are, and then pick a team for what 3 you think are the most valuable versus this other person, and whoever has the most monetary value wins. And you could do that with really any collection, but these are just so easily displayed that you could do it as a fucking game show, and you could just fucking rock it out, man.
Super cool.
But anyways, let's get out of here. This was episode... What do we want to call this, dude?
I don't know what you want to name it.
Spicy Swim Death.
Spicy Swim Death.
The Walking Dead. Spicy Swim Death.
I honestly think you should call it pre-Chronospunk. Because somebody's going to see that and be like, what the fuck And they're not going to know about pre-Chronospunk. I can't even say it. Pre-Chronospunk until they get late into the thing. If they stay that long,
That's
I
true.
might have turned them off.
I don't think that's true, but maybe we'll name this Oh my, Spicy Swim Death Pre-Chronospunk.
Pre-Chronospunk.
I like that. All right, folks. So, anyways, as always, I'm Nate,
I'm Anthony.
and have a good one.